in the government for them to keep secrets about technology that they have. Where do they get this technology? What are these things that we're talking about? So yeah, that's what we're going to get into tonight. I think it's pretty interesting, and I think it's important that we, before we let them establish the narrative, we should do like a little review, like an audit, right? What are these rumors? And then when the official narrative comes out, we'll check our list, we'll check it twice, we'll compare, and if we need to, we'll call BS.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's up to you. Like, in the end, it doesn't matter what I believe. It matters what you believe, what you guys believe. So it's all fine. It's all good. We just have the conversation here, and you kind of yeah. Sorry about that. I bumped the channel over to the other YouTube. Sorry about that. So I could put the chat up on the stream. Anyway, but that's what we do on this show. This isn't the answer show, as you know. This is a question show, and we're here to kind of look at some of these UFO mythologies and ask the questions of how real this could or could not be. And so we can start there. Shall we start with? How about this, Ash? What have you heard, kind of just in the periphery, about the United States and the secret space program? What do you know about it as we kind of get into this conversation tonight?
Yeah, so, I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot. I've heard everything from, we have some secret tech, and then we don't know how to reverse engineer it, and we're not very far at all, to we have bases on Mars, and we send squads of hitmen to kill aliens. So I've heard the whole gamut, the whole spectrum about the secret space program, that supposedly it's a breakaway civilization, that the technology that is supposed that they have is so advanced, it kind of changes how everything works, right? It's like a post-scarcity sort of society, supposedly. So again, do I have a flux capacitor, to show you? No, I don't. I don't have any evidence, but there's been a lot of a lot of leaks and rumors for the past. So, I've heard everything under the sun, and there's got to be something there, right? Where there's smoke, there's usually fire.
Yeah, unless you're, again, back to the Hillary Clinton joke. But no, so I think the thing is this, right? I've said this all along, and I think this is true. And not because I don't have any inside information. Remember, it's nothing like that. But just think about it this way. NASA is the PR front for an actual secret space program. Because as we know, as humans, as the United States, the great United States of America, we like to weaponize things. And so you can't make me believe, no matter what you say, that there is not secret things going on in space in the weaponization category. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't buy that. In no capacity could you convince me that we have not been doing secret things in space that are, set up to fight, set up for, for at least with China and Russia, right? I think that it's probably one of those things that people don't think about too often, unless you're kind of into this sort of thing, like the UFO community type stuff, and you think about this stuff often and have these conversations. But in no capacity is the United States of America not up there trying to weaponize space, because everybody else is, right? And like Joe said from Florida when he called in last night, there's many that believe the same sentiment. We have to, because if we don't, as the United States, speaking in those terms, that if we don't, somebody else will. And that's part of what's going on with this. And so, with NASA being the PR front of a secret space program, it kind of just begs the question, how deep does that militarization of space and the secret space program go? And we can start with the TR3B. That's one of those things that is very prominent in ufology. Okay, people now, and I'll put it this: these are the questions tonight. These are the questions. Now, if we have a secret space program, how deep do you think it goes? All right. Is it, there are people have said that we have time travel capability and portals and all kinds of things, right? But there's also people that have just kind of claimed that no, it's not that far ahead. It's like the X-37B and things like this, right? Which we'll get to. We've got some information on that as well. But so that's one of the questions tonight. And the other question is, have you ever seen, I know there's people out there that have seen them, a triangle UFO with the lights on the corners that look like this TR3B? Couple questions tonight. So let's pose it to you. I've never seen a TR3B in the wild. I've seen them on YouTube and stuff, and I'm not sure they're all real because people are always hoaxing and faking. But have you ever seen a TR3B, Ash?
Well, so you mentioned a few things there. You mentioned the you suspect, and I would say rightly so, that the military, or especially the American military, would militarize space, right? And so that's your gut instinct based on them doing it 100% of the chance they ever get the chance, right? So it's got a pretty good track record. Now, there's a few things, to fill in the blanks there is, we did just create another branch of the government, called Space Force. Trump got caught saying we do a tremendous amount of stuff in space because he was off script, right? It's like, what, wait, hold on one second. Hey man, wait, hold on, wait. Can you go back? Because you're not doing anything in space that you're telling us, right? There's nothing really spectacularly new. So we get hints of that. John Podesta, he got an email from an astronaut saying that they have the space race is heating up with China, I think, or Russia or something was filling the blanks. This was in a secret email that got disclosed. The space race is heating up, and then he goes on to say our alien friends, extra-dimensional aliens friends, won't tolerate the militarization of space. But we don't have to get into that tonight. But more smoke, right? More smoke, and so this gets to the discussion of TR3B, which is a very interesting one, right? It's I actually have two different friend groups who don't even know each other, and one, I would say, is into this, so I would discredit his opinion more. But no, I know two people who've seen this thing, and they said it was silent, it was above them, they barely noticed it, and they're like, oh, what's that? And then it was just floating there, and it would just fly away. So I'm familiar with it and what it is, but personally, I've never seen one myself. Have you seen one or know anyone?
No, so I do know Joe from Florida. Actually, he's called in a couple times and told us that he saw an actual he called it a TR3B. It's a triangle UFO that was silent and the rest of this stuff. So that's the only person I've actually talked to specifically that's seen one of these things. So to me, it's kind of a mythology. All right, just meaning that I haven't seen it with my own eyes. And you know how humans are kind of stubborn. You want to see it before you can believe it, type of thing.
Right, absolutely.
So but it's okay. It's okay. Like I said, I can entertain the concept of things being real if I haven't seen them. I think it's part of our duty as people to have an open mind in that manner. So it's okay. But I think that there's a lot of information out there about it. So if you guys aren't familiar, I know many of you are because you follow this type of information, right? The TR3B. Let's just go to the Ministry of Truth real quick and look at what they try and tell us about this. Ministry of Truth, of course, being the Wikipedia, and that's what I like to call it because they're redacting history in real time. By the way, just letting you know, that's what's happening with Wikipedia. But anyway. There's this, here you go, straight from Wikipedia. The black triangle UFO, all right? Black triangles are UFOs reported as having a triangular shape and dark color, typically observed at night. Described as large, silent, hovering, moving slowly, and displaying pulsating colored lights. All right, so we got and which is pretty cool. They go down and they have like some actual incidents here where they can kind of point to these. And the 1989, 1982, the Belgian wave, 1997, the Phoenix Lights. We all know about that one. In 2000, the Southern Illinois incident, and then 2004 to 2006, the Tinley Park Lights. And so here we go. According to popular mechanics, military aircraft may be responsible for a number of black triangle UFO reports. The TR3A Black Manta is the name of a speculative surveillance aircraft reported to belong to the United States Air Force and to have been developed under a black project associated with several reports of sightings of flying triangle over Antelope Valley, an area of desert in Southern California. This stretch of desert draws people interested in potential black project aircraft because it is close to several known military research and testing areas such as Edwards Air Force Base in California and United States Air Force Plant 42. So, okay, I'm going to read in Wikipedia is probably about the most boring thing you could ever do, but I like to establish what the mainstream considers real. And right here on Wikipedia, they're saying that this is real. Are they not? Did I miss that? I'm pretty sure they said this is a real thing, right?
Sounded like it to me. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the wiki laws.
yeah, I don't think there are.
Yeah.
There definitely no wiki laws. Okay, so the thing is though that with that said, right? Like I said, it's a good place to start because you like to see what the official narrative is. All right. And so, of course, when you're talking about black budget projects and you're talking about secret space programs and things like this, I think it's pretty clear that they have to have a baseline story, right? Propaganda wise, national security wise, I think you have to have a baseline story. And that's why I like to go to Wikipedia. I know I'm not usually going to learn anything there, but what I do know is that if you pay attention to what they're saying, that is the allowed conversation, right? So that's a good starting point for this tonight. And so, of course, they say it's real, and that people go out to a certain part of the California desert to actually try and view these things, to try and view TR3Bs in the sky, actual government UFOs, which, of course, could be real, right? So I guess the question becomes, there are larger questions here, of course, which it kind of runs into. How long do you think, if this is real, how long do you think we've been doing this? And then if this is real and we have been doing this, how much further than the TR3B do you think we've gone? Care to speculate on that, Ash? We got to about 4 minutes before the bottom of the hour here.
Yeah. One interesting quality about the TR3B is that there was no reports of it until a certain point on. So, if it is, if it was alien or whatever, then it would have been around for a long time, right? Not just suddenly somewhere else in the life cycle. So like, the TR3B, what's interesting about it is that it also looks kind of like the stealth bomber, right? It looks like what they would do next. Like if they took like Alien Tech and it took like the stealth bomber, they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool." It's what humans would think is cool. It didn't show up until I think the late 80s. It's like the first time it was ever spotted, and it's been spotted a lot since. There are patents that are out that mention it. I mean, there's a lot of evidence for this thing. It's almost like they don't even hide it, but it's hidden enough that in this UFO report. We may not get the answer about it. So I don't know. Ultimately, it's kind of like a weird stance that they've taken on such a thing that it's fine to talk about it as if it exists, but then when it comes to the official reports and things like that, it doesn't exist. It's like, well, which one is it? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, so notice that Wikipedia said, according to popular mechanics, it's like they have to cite the source because if they cite the leak, well, it's a felony. But we've talked about leaks before.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, nice. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's the old end around. But anyway, so like I said, we're going to talk about this tonight. So not just on the eve, basically this week of that UFO report coming out, the 6-month, 180-day UFO report. Talked about that ad nauseum last night. Tonight, we're kind of on the periphery of that and asking the question, if there's a secret space program, how far along is it? How long have they been doing this stuff? And do you think there's something to the reverse engineering of UFOs, meaning the TR3B, that people have seen these silent triangles hovering in the desert, right, with just the 3 lights on the edges of the wings and, those types of things. That's what we're looking at. And let's see, who said this? Jack said this. The TR3B, as far as I'm aware, they're using the TR36 now, not the 3B, the 36 from what I've read. And so again, right, if the 3B is what it was, what's the 3.6, and how far along have they come? And do you expect that there's some truth to this? The United States is flying around their own UFOs. That's really the question tonight, and I leave it up to you. Do you want to be part of the show? We're looking to hear from you tonight. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're here with Ash, the reptilian from Mars tonight, and we're talking about the secret space program. Don't go anywhere. Your calls and more after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and I'm here with your co-host, Ash, the reptilian from Mars. We are streaming on Facebook, DLive, and YouTube. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. If you want to be part of the show tonight, give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we are talking about the TR3B, the government secret space program. And does this exist at all? In the UFO community, it seems to be a thing. There are sightings of triangle UFOs the world over, including years back in Belgium is one of them. And this is probably, I would think, the most common UFO sighting other than just your random, kind of blob light in the sky that people can't really quantify. This seems to be the one that comes up often, doesn't it? Earth to Mars, do you copy? Ash, are you there? Okay. If not, that's fine. It's all good. So that's the question, right? So we're looking to hear your calls tonight. And have you ever seen a TR3B, which are these triangle UFOs? And then two, if you have, or do you believe they exist? How far along do you think the secret space program is? People in the chat there, said when we were on the break, the Geomagician said this: the TR6 is what was in the Phoenix Lights picture from Wikipedia, which, of course, if you remember the Phoenix Lights, that was a very large triangular craft, but it was huge. It was like bigger than an aircraft carrier, huge. And so it wasn't the little TR3Bs that are described. Geomagician says that's a TR6. So I'm not sure what the terminology comes from based on the TR3B, but yeah, anyway, just let me know, holler when you get back, Ash, if you're there. Let's see. Night Stalker says this in the chat: my favorite take is that the secret space program is more Stargate than it is Star Trek, coded in the Apollo and Artemis moon missions. And he's got a nice link of the Space Force logo and the kind of the Stargate type of looking thing. And I think that's probably the biggest question here is how far along do you think the secret space program actually is, and why so secret? Why? I mean, this is basically the thing that will change the entire paradigm of humanity, right? Forever. It should.
Right.
Right. It should. Welcome back. How you doing there, Ash? What's up, buddy?
Hey, I came in. I was saying some hot stuff, and I missed the mute button.
Hey.
So I left myself muted.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's usually when I do my best work, is when I'm muted. So I was probably spitting hot fire, huh?
It was who knows? I don't even remember it anymore. It's probably the thing to say. Yeah, but no, 3RB. No, that's a good point. Like the government doesn't tell us anything. We don't know what's going on. They got underground bases, or called dumps. That's the greatest short name for anything I've ever heard. So government's making dumps all over the place, and I've seen them. Like, I've seen video of it, of this underground these underground tunnels, and then just like rows and rows of where of docks where these 18-wheelers can pull up and load up supplies, and they're doing who knows what they're doing down there. And then have you noticed something where in these popular magazines, they used to tell you, oh, it's the F-16, we have the F-18. They used to kind of tell you what was the newest, hottest aviation. And I don't know if it's the trends or whatever, but I haven't heard anything. Like we were supposed to have flying cars and Jetsons, and you know what I'm saying? We're supposed to have all this stuff by now. This And the only thing, and it is amazing, but the only thing we got are phones. I mean, look how advanced a phone is. Like, 10 years ago, we didn't have that stuff. But then you look at different markets like energy, like the energy market. There's been like little to no advancement in these fields. And I suspect it's because, a lot of the reason is because of the petrodollar, right? Our economy is based on oil. And other countries, if you don't know what the petrodollar is, it's because other countries will trade when they buy petro, like in the Middle East and these other places. They have to convert to the American dollar. So that's how America's kind of held their the alpha status, I guess, and kind of makes our currency strong because we are kind of the de facto default currency that gives us the ability to kind of print money more. So, if you come out with this UFO technology that revolutionizes the way we live, well, all of a sudden you kind of lose that foothold to countries like Russia and China, who are ready to go. They're ready to take over and become number one spot. China's been making a lot of moves just this week, so you can only imagine. So I suspect that the government is in a precarious spot, and they have these things like this TR3B, which is basically a really cool triangle UFO based on what technology that we can only dream. It's supposed silent, and it can faster than light travel, all this kind of crazy stuff. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking not just a UFO. We're talking actual anti-gravity tech. I mean, this thing hovers silently. It's been known and seen to do maneuvers that kind of break the laws of physics as we know them. And so there's, and I hate to bring it up and go back into that a little bit, but it definitely fits into the story of the Bob Lazar reverse engineering UFOs. And so you got to wonder, like, how much of that is truth and how much of that maybe they used him as part of a way to deflect from what was really happening somewhere else, possibly. You know what I mean? So I have no doubt. It seems like Bob Lazar believes what he's saying, but is it entirely true? I don't know, because it is not beyond the government to basically use people as examples and use them as a conduit of disinformation, right? Very much Paul Benowitz and Richard Doty, right? One of those old ufology stories where they were, intelligence, Air Force intelligence was actually feeding information about fake extraterrestrials to this guy to basically make him go insane, and he eventually committed suicide. I mean, there's some horrific stories like this, or there's many. I'm trying to think of the names here, but in any case, okay, we got a phone call we'll go to in a sec, but I think that's the thing, right? Is if this is the case, so just your hot take on this real quick before we do the phone call, Ash. We're going to assume for tonight the TR3B is real. So if it's real, do you think this is some sort of like a human technology where we maybe kind of broke a barrier scientifically and it just isn't public yet? Or do you think it has something to do with maybe reverse engineering, like crashed UFOs?
I mean, so if you look back to the Nikola Tesla days, a lot of his research was confiscated and classified, and that was a man that was like, Thomas Edison and these kind of people get a lot of credit. That guy, he literally delivered us the modern era with the alternating current, I think it is, and so yeah, he was a genius for all this supposed technology. And that kind of story gets blown out of proportion. But back then, the sky was the limit. Like I was saying, flying cars and all this stuff was supposed to be kind of like the norm now. I think the Jetsons is coming up here. I think we're not very far off from the year the Jetsons claim to be, with robot dogs and all this kind of stuff. And we don't have these things, but, where does this technology come from? So there's that line, right, where we just had these geniuses, and that's potentially where this technology and this innovation comes from. And then there's the whole, like you mentioned, alien reproduction route with Bob Lazar, and we had a show where we talked about the remote viewing guys, remote viewers. When they looked at it, they found that we basically made some deals with aliens, and they gave us stuff. And we've been trying to reverse engineer it ever since. I lean toward that story because it just makes sense. It just really does. Because around the Roswell time, our technology took off. We used to use like ponies and horses. In New York City, there used to be so much feces in the street that it was like, it was like dozens of people's jobs just to manage all the poop, from all these horses. And that wasn't too long ago. And then all of a sudden, now we've got crazy phones and technology and space travel and all this kind of stuff kind of blew up right after that. So, yeah, you also have the UFOs that were hovering over military bases, right? When we were detonating the nukes and testing, and that's documented. A lot of these things are declassified now. The narrative just points in that direction for me personally. I don't know what you guys think, and that's the point of the show, for you guys to kind of call in and contribute and tell us what you think. Do you think the government's hiding stuff? I bet most of you think that, but like, what did you think? Are aliens not real? Are they a boogeyman that they've created over all this time? That it's possible, man. Like, we could have been duped. Me personally, I would have been duped so hard. Oh man, but I have egg on my face. If that's the case, but I don't know. I suspect there is an extraterrestrial origin in that we've been trying to kind of reverse engineer it since. And I do have some evidence. We'll get into that a little later, but I do have, I think, some proof that may tilt in that direction.
Okay, sweet. So let's go to the phone call. And if you guys want to be part of the show, simple as this, dial this number, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can go to troubledminds.org, click the Discord link. You can join that way as well. Discord is a voice client and a chat client, and it's totally free as long as you have an internet connection. So please do that if you have not. Lots of good stuff going on over there. Let's go to this phone call. Paul in New Hampshire. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight?
Hey guys, how are you doing? Can you hear me all right?
Loud and clear, sir. Go right ahead. What do you think about this TR3B stuff?
Hey. You guys bring up some really valid points. And, just to say, with years of research and kind of a little, thinking about this, I've kind of come to the conclusion that, in my mind, I think you kind of said that, you talk about propaganda, you talk about this, what's going on. I think that TR3B thing was kind of something to take us off the path. I think it was more one of these things, if you go back to where we talk about the stealth bomber and the fighters, and, these were reported as UFOs for a while. And I think you said, Mike, that you see a lot of this on YouTube and Facebook and whatnot, and most of the videos I've seen of this stuff always seems to follow with the rhetoric. You see a fake video or maybe a picture of a triangular UFO that could be proven or maybe not. Doesn't seem to be a lot of information there to back this up. But it always goes to the same thing where you have everybody in the world saying, oh, it's the TR3B. I've seen that comment so many times. And, you talk about the schematics of it showing up, the pictures on the internet that always wind up being fake. I think it's more, the TR3B itself was more of a sidestep propaganda thing. But with that being said, I think there's a reason for that. And that's because maybe there is some kind of technology that we have. But I highly doubt our government is out flying around fake or UFO triangle craft floating over cities. And it goes right back to the Phoenix Lights, the Belgium incident. Illinois had a big thing, the Exeter incident. You look at all of these things put together. And this happened throughout the last 50, I say 50, but it's been 70 years. And we get to the point that it always seems every time somebody sees a UFO, now it's being blamed on this TR3B secret plane that the government makes. And yeah, Ash said it. Yeah, there's plenty of whistleblowers that have come out during the Disclosure Project. Plenty of people that have worked for the government, plenty of people in high places that have said, yes, we are way leaps and years and leaps beyond technologically what we are. And the problem with that is if this is real, well, then what's the next step? And that will be, where do we get this technology? And let's face it, it is probably not from us. I actually got into that with Roswell, the jump in technology. We were riding horses one day, and next thing you know, we're, flying around in F-18s and Hornets. Yeah, well, why do they have these still, by the way? If we have these, why aren't we nuking China? But, I mean, we're never going to get there.
Easy,
and
buddy.
if we do, that's going to be a bad thing. But, yeah, I
Wait,
think
wait,
this is
wait.
the propaganda.
Paul,
part.
I just want to point out, bro, you went from riding horses to flying F-15s to nuking China. I just want to say.
Right?
I just want to say. All right.
It's crazy. It's
If you're
just
gonna
crazy
do it, start
where
with the
we've been,
Wuhan
guys.
lab.
It's crazy, you guys.
Yeah, it's good. The technology is nuts, and I think you bring up a lot of good points here. Is this could definitely very well be a one of those disinformation campaigns from the government to throw us off the trail, and that wouldn't surprise me a single bit. Only because they're doing other things, and so I don't know though. If there weren't so many actual eyewitness accounts, I can't remember the guy's name. I was trying to find him, and I couldn't find his actual name or his website. But there's a guy that Chris Mellon was talking to recently that says this individual has thousands of actual sightings of these, first-hand eyewitness accounts of the TR3B style, the triangle silent aircraft. So, those things, who knows? Maybe that guy's pulling our leg too. I have no idea. But it does seem to be either one or the other. It gets cited a lot, or it gets cited a lot, right? SIGHTED or CITED, right? You get my cited or cited. But it just depends, right? I guess it depends on who you ask. We got to go, Paul, because we got time to get through tons of stuff here. But I appreciate you calling in tonight, and thanks for your takes on this stuff.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, bro. Have a fantastic night. All right, Ash, anything on that with the good stuff Paul said there?
Oh, it's good. He actually said something early. It's like, if the TR3B is like some secret tech, it's like the worst kept secret ever. Because anytime anyone sees it, TR3B, there's patents. I mean, there's a lot. There's a big A paper trail. I caught myself.
Nice.
And, I want to be a reptilian dad one day, so I'm practicing not cursing. But no, there's a huge paper trail that leads right to that dang thing, and it's almost like, yeah, we got it. We don't care that you see it. We just don't want you to mess up the petrodollar. That's what it really seems like. We don't want you to you ask too many questions and get into it. And I almost suspect with the oh man, that's a giant Martian bug. Holy man, that almost got me. Oh wow, this scared. This went right for my face. Oh man. Hold on. What was I talking about?
I got you, buddy.
The TR3B. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
my life flashed before my eyes.
So there is a big paper trail that kind of heads back to this thing in popular culture on the internet. I mean, there's I'm pulling up websites talking about this thing right there on Wikipedia. They say that this black triangle UFO exists, and they say that the Popular Mechanics has cited it as this technology, whatever this is. And so again, right, is it or is it not? Because it wouldn't be too far a stretch, in my opinion, to have Popular Mechanics printing disinformation for the government. I just think somebody'd have to make a phone call and they'd be like, sure, we got you. And it would be up the next day. You know what I mean? So that's really the question here. So is it cited or cited, right? Are people citing them in print, or are they seeing them in the wild? And that's right. Now we have this paradox of information and disinformation, and it falls in our lap to try and figure this out.
Exactly. Yep. Oh, and he mentioned another thing, that maybe because it is so common, maybe it is just kind of like, maybe it's a project where they make you want to think. I'm going to say a name. Don't leave, guys. I'm just saying a name, okay? It's Corey Good. All right. Or no, David Wilcock.
Oh,
David Wilcock.
You got to say them both?
No. no, I'm sorry. Scratch the first one, okay?
Right.
I know that one of them's too much. All right, two of them's definitely too much. No, but David Whitlock, he went on this long spiel, and there was some interesting information about there that the TR3B might be actually like a giant flotation device. Like there was this kind of like, forgive me for saying this, like weather balloon kind of tech, basically blimp tech. And there's all these schematics, and it was a thing that they worked on that was like very similar name to TR3B. That it was named in a way that it would be the predecessor to the TR3B, and it was an interesting argument that the designs for it were somewhat similar, and that basically they had created a blimp and then strapped on this like newer technology to it. Now I don't know how much that warrants, but if that sounds like basically it's like, okay, it's not this crazy alien tech, it's like just some blimp tech, but it's like it's quiet, it's useful, it's like undetectable, so it in a lot of ways it has the same qualities, but it's not like that cool. So it's kind of like almost like if you wanted Russia to think you had a better hand than you do, right? Or China. They think you have this like crazy UFO tech, but it's like cool blimp tech, right? So I don't know. You got to keep in mind there is this chess game that our military is playing with other governments, with factions. The Air Force keeps secrets from the contractors for the Navy, and it's complex. The Pentagon, right? There's basically Congress is molesting Pentagon to get information out of them, and supposedly the Pentagon hates Congress because they have that ability. So there's a lot of layers, there's a lot of moves. It's a giant chessboard, and we're just kind of pieces trying to understand the world we're in, the board we're on. So who knows, but I mean, to say it's not real, he didn't say that. I would think it would be hard to say that, right? At this point, there's so many sightings, there's so much evidence, and a lot of people know someone who has at least seen it, and there's pictures, there's videos. I mean, this thing exists, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure it's out there, better than Sasquatch. That's for sure. Yeah.
So, and I think you got a good point there regarding the gamesmanship between militaries and disinformation back and forth. Think about how easy it would be to fake a sighting like this, right? We just have to come up with like a triangle-shaped balloon, and we have to put some sort of lights on the corners, right? And then let this thing float. And and if even better, if you can equip sort of a remote control type of motor, you can turn on that's super quiet, like just kind of just enough. Maybe it sits on the top so you can't see it. Like how are you going to differentiate? It's going to be silent. It's going to be floating above you. It's going to be dark except for the lights on the corners. I mean, for just if we wanted to go spend a few $100, maybe even less than that, maybe a little more. I don't know. I haven't thought about it except for right now, but I think it could be faked easily. And so in that case, without doing all the gravity-defying maneuvers and stuff, if you just want one to kind of float over the neighborhood, I think you could pull that off easy peasy style. So and if, like you said, if that was the case in trying to get it out into the zeitgeist for people to point to these things and say, oh, well, this is, the TR3B. And like you said, paper trail. It goes back to a lot of these patents and things. And it's not like they're trying to hide this one where they went through a huge, jumping through a ton of hoops to hide like the SR-71. So it kind of, right? Something doesn't ring true here. We got like a minute left. So final thought, let's wrap up the segment, Ash.
Yeah. So, we're talking about the TR3B because there's this UFO report coming out, right? And we're trying to kind of recap and look at things, and why do we know about this? Why don't we know about that? If this existed, then that doesn't make sense. We're preparing, right, for this report, this historical report to drop from the Pentagon, and I think everyone's a little nervous and excited, right? We're waiting to see, and like Blee Blop Bop 5 can come out and show us his generals. I don't know, like who knows what's gonna happen.
What is going on tonight? Something's in the water. I appreciate it, Ash. All right. If you want to be part of the show, this is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're here with Ash tonight. We're talking about the TR3B, the secret space program. What do you think this is? Give us a call. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. More talk about the secret space program, UFOs, the TR3B, and you after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and I'm here tonight with your co-host, Ash, the reptilian from Mars. And hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. This is the show where we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. This show is live. If you want to be part of the show at any point, give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord at troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link right on top. Also, please join the Fringe FM Discord, fringe.fm/chat. We'll give you a direct invite. And tonight, we're talking about the secret space program, the TR3B. What does the government know about UFOs, reverse engineering, and how much of this is disinformation to throw us off the trail of what's actually happening out there? This is, again, as you know, the most tenuous part of the entire show. Let's see if we can tune into Mars with that terrible connection. Beep, beep, Earth to Mars. Do you hear us?
Boop, boop.
Oh, yeah.
Mars to Earth.
Nice. Loud and clear, my friend. Loud and clear. So what's up, Ash the Reptilian?
I'm actually lamenting over a comment. You know, now we're talking about the secret program, and the narrative is being controlled and shifted. There's something that kind of resonates in my mind, and it's that the argument that they keep making, Alonzo and them, is that the government couldn't possibly keep a secret, and that this technology is in nobody's arsenal. And then they just whoop, whoop. So it's got to be, you know, either the Russians or the aliens, and that's kind of currently before the UFO report comes out. That's where we're at. But I don't know if this stuff is true, then that's not true. So we're already in probably lying territory, and the report hasn't even come out. So I kind of want to point that out. That does bother me. That's like that's like starting a relationship with a lie. You know, it's like, oh, they've lied to you this whole time. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to finally come clean. The first thing they say is a lie. It's like,
whoa. We aren't there yet. We aren't there yet, man. We're still waiting for this report to drop. As you guys know, the 6-month UFO report is due any day now. Due by Friday, they say. Marco Rubio says it will be on time. We talked about that in last night's show if you're interested in the full conversation there. But yeah, I mean, and that's part of it, right? Like we discussed a little bit of that last night, meaning that they've been lying for so long. If they give up too much information, it exposes that they've been lying. But if they don't give up enough, then they're kind of screwed because people are going to be outraged. Like, well, the lie continues, right? Like they're kind of in a no-win situation with this. So I think the best thing to do would be to maybe throw us a bone with some new information, some radar data, and something, something like this, like a new video or two. Like I'd be pleased with that. It's just like, okay, here's some new stuff that they want to talk about, they want to give to us. Let's say that here's some examples of the things that we cannot quantify in a defense level conversation, right? So with that, I don't know. I mean, I would be happy with that, but I don't think we're going to get that much. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with all that. But again, like I said, this is not about me and what I think or what Ash thinks. It's about you. What do you think in the end of this? If you're out there listening, if you could hear me at any point, whether it's live or an archive, podcast, whatever, it only matters what you think. Like apply your common sense, your logic, and your life experience to all this, and maybe there's some answers to be had. Like I've said in the past, the wisdom of the crowd can be a lot more powerful than a lot of this classified information stuff with the secret sources and things like this, which might be all lying to us anyway. So okay, so we do have a phone call, but here's what we're going to get to after that, Ash. Get the stuff ready for the actual maybe some smoking gun proof of the technology. How about that? You said you got some of that stuff you want to talk about?
Yep, definitely. And you mentioned just so you guys know, there supposedly is a lot more UFO videos that may come out after this report. That's the rumor. But another thing you said is you're absolutely right. The TR3B hasn't been in any of these videos. It's been Tic Tacs and stuff like that, right? So all these people are seeing TR3Bs, but we don't have any official government videos of them. I find that kind of suspicious too. So anyway, let's go to our caller. Let's see what they think, right? Do they think it's suspicious? Let's see what their hot TR3B take is.
Okay. If you guys want to be part of the show, pick up the phone, dial this phone number, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. Simple as that. And we're talking about the secret space program, the TR3B, and how much do you think of this is real? And if it is, how far past that technology do you think we are? Let's go to Beechwood in Massachusetts. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and Ash. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm doing awesome. I'm in the garage tonight, and I'm slaughtering the Modelos by the masses.
Nice.
And beautiful
Cheers.
thing.
Cheers, buddy.
But, man, as far as a secret space program, there's definitely one. There's probably... The humans love secrets. It's like part of our survival mechanism is a secret. Even from simple everyday life things to, the top of the food chain, we love secrets. Where the truth, there's just never 100% truth with the human race. And I don't have an answer or a reason for that. I think it's just part of the built-in survival mechanism. But I think there's definitely a secret space program, and I think the technology is way, way further advanced than we think it is. And I think it has to do with a number of things. I think it has to do with people that like technology, people that like things, actually have a passion for it. They have a drive for it. When people like stuff, they want to be the best. Professional athletes, they have the drive, the motivation to be the best. And then we also know with things like government, I want to say violence rules government. The government is not afraid to take military action. And granted, one person could be smarter, make more technology, but it depends on their ethics. And if you ask me, I tell you the government doesn't have ethics. But I also think there's a government within the government. I think it funnels down. I think most of the government employees are kind of like puppets. And like technology, I look at stuff like the guy mentioned, like the F-18. That was made in 1980 something. I think it was 1983, about 100% positive. But look at the capability of it. I think it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's a plane. I think planes are amazing anyways, but you look at the technology on it. I'm going to say it's pretty advanced, and then you compare it to a TV from 1983. And it thing's made out of wood. It's got tubes, and it's ancient technology. And there's consumer technology which we buy, which we know is suppressed, and as soon as they hit their number, the new technology is released. But then I think when you get to a point with like governments and elite, money doesn't matter. I think only resources matter. Because if you have control of the money, you would have control of the resources, and that would be your limit or your boundary is how much resources you have. But yeah, that's all. I didn't have too much tonight. That was just the point I wanted to bring up, about the technology, how we're smarter than the general public says we are. And then you look through history, like World War II, the United States government extracted scientists. Like, that's what they were going for from, multiple countries. They said, they made deals. And that's what the United States government is good at. They're not even smart. They're just mean. They're a bully. They know how to get in and make other people do the work for them. So there's a very good potential that this technology could have been developed by another country, and the United States just went in, and they'll say they bought it, but they just took it. And I think that's a possibility. If you look into any like medical equipment in the medical field, all the good stuff comes from foreign countries. Like, none of the United States is all about economy. Our technology isn't that great. Like, we know how to sell it. We know how to convince people that it's ours. But I think the people that actually make it have like the passion for it, and then ethics come into the situation. So it becomes one of them like unanswerable questions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Good.
No, that was all I had.
I appreciate it, my man. Good stuff as always. That's Beechwood from Massachusetts. Thank you so much for the call. Have a great night. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon, man. Slaughter that Modelo away.
All right.
Get it.
Absolutely. And that report's coming out. When's it coming out? Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow or Friday. We're running out of time here. It's coming soon. We'll be all over it the second it does, so don't you worry. We'll be talking about it.
All right, my man.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a great night. That's Beechwood, Massachusetts. If you guys want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037, 702-957-1037. Take a hot take on that, Ash, before we get into your stuff here. I got all the links up that you sent, by the way. We're good to go?
No, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Really good point. It's funny. It's like you can have all the money in the universe, but what are you going to buy? Right, and that's the resources, and control over the resources is kind of like this game that we play here on planet Earth, and it's one of many games where we don't tell the truth, and that's like goes back to that episode with the telepathy, where we were talking about aliens were supposedly saying that we need to develop telepathy to evolve because we just can't stop lying to each other, and no human's perfect, and we work with what we got. But yeah, good stuff, good points, good stuff.
Definitely. All right, let's get to. I got your link here about Mark McCandlish. If you want to start with that.
Yeah. So currently the narrative is that we don't know what these UFO objects are, and we have nothing currently in our arsenal of this, and we don't know what this report's going to come out and say. Right. So we're currently exploring the space program and the rumors and the stories and the leaks that we've gotten that the government, the government might be lying to us. Maybe. I don't know. Nah, that would never happen.
Nah, never. But, how dare you?
Yeah, sorry. I'm out of line. But yes. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Continue, sir. Carry on.
Oh,
Mark McCandlish.
Carry on, sir.
Carry on.
Mark McCandlish. So we got the story of Mark McCandlish. So Mark McCandlish was an aerospace illustrator. So when I was talking about, they used to come out and tell us about planes, remember it being like Popular magazine, and there'd be these really detailed drawings, almost like schematics of these craft. And so this guy, Mark McCandlish, was a very respected illustrator. He worked with the top aerospace corporations in the United States, and he was pretty much really well connected with the military-industrial complex in a variety of ways, because he used to draw the stuff that they made, right? And would basically was kind of like a bead right to the public. So he had this friend who's inside. He calls him Brad. That's not his name. I'm trying to see if, well, he doesn't share too much information about Brad. Brad is kind of an anonymous person, but this person has, Mark has connections to the military industrial complex. So does Brad. Brad was supposedly working on vehicles, and he had a general friend. This is the story of Mark McCandlish. I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit, and how they kind of, as a group, they stumbled across a secret space program vehicle, an alien reproduction vehicle, or ARV for short. And and supposedly this thing's been around for a while. So anyway, Mark's friend Brad went to an air show with a general and accidentally got too deep in the air show and saw something he wasn't supposed to. He freaks out. The general tells him to keep a secret, and Brad goes home. Brad's depressed because he works on jets, and he knows that these things exist, and everything he's doing is just stupid compared to that. And so he talks to Mark. Mark draws this thing out because this guy remembers it from memory, and this is supposedly an anti-gravity vehicle that he witnessed. And so if you guys are sitting at home, I think Mike's going to throw up some pictures. If you're listening, the vehicle that you want to search is called the Flux Liner. And supposedly, according to Mark and Brad, this is the first alien reproduction vehicle. We basically took alien stuff, we reproduced it. It's kind of like made like a vehicle in the 60s. There's like an old submarine handle on it. There's no windows. It's a really interesting thing. So just search the Flux Liner, and they still had these things. They were still operational, and when he walked in and they pulled back the curtain, these things were floating above the ground, and people were able to look in and go in. Can you imagine? Just going to an air show, and that these things were built back in the 60s. That we had mastered anti-gravity, according to this story, in the 60s, and that these things could go super fast even back then, and these things were very crude. Now there's all these weird, he drew all these weird, really specific things about this, right? And kind of the nail in the coffin for this story, just a little bit of potentially like the smoking gun, is if you go back and you look at like alien photos or UFO photos from back in the 60s, you can see vehicles that look almost exactly like the Flux Liner. So these pictures are taken in the 60s. Decades later, this guy goes to an air show and sees them. Now we know what it looks like. You go back to those photos, and it's almost the same thing. Even down to the cameras. Supposedly there were cameras on the outside, and there were certain versions. And then you can go and you can look up those cameras and see like, oh, okay, that's the kind of technology that they had back then. And you could go back and look through UFOs. If you go back through these old UFOs, this is before Photoshop. This is before any of that stuff, right? So you couldn't really doctor photos as easily. Like now you can't even believe anything you see. You literally need like 5 radar confirmations. Like you need like a video, radar confirmation, soldiers talking about it, a general riding off on it, the Pentagon and the Navy, and then even then you got still Mick West saying it's a freaking bird. Okay, so
it's a seagull, bro. It's a seagull. That needs to be a T-shirt. Yeah. It's a seagull, bro. Speaking of Mick West, he just had an interview with Jason Colavito, and I linked it in the chat and in our Discord. It's like the two most poopy pants skeptics in the whole world. If you guys want to some cold water splashed on your face, go watch
poopy
that.
Pants. Oh man, I love that.
I watched
because he is a party pooper. He's a party pooper, man.
But I watched Jason. Dude, he's almost got nothing on Jason Colavito. I linked it in the Discord if you guys want to check it out. It's it's two guys sitting there like very serious. Like, hardly a laugh is to be found, and they're just kind of crapping on everything. It's pretty funny. So anyway, we got a phone call. Let's go to this phone call and keep on trucking. We are talking about the secret space program, the TR3B, and now the alien reproduction vehicle. So what do you think is basically the question that is this tonight? How far do you think this has gone? There's clearly a secret space program. Do you think there's back engineered something from alien tech, or do you think it's disinformation or some sort of maybe human breakthrough that has not gone to the private sector yet, because of course the military would hoard it for military applications? So that's the question tonight. Looking to hear from you. 702-957-1037. Putting the phone number up, and we're going to, looks like Jennifer in Missouri. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and Ash. How are you?
Hey Mike, how are you?
Doing very well.
Yeah, I wanted to talk. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to talk about NIMSA. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but a man named Walter Bosley, who was a former United States Air Force Office of Special Investigations agent, I suppose you'd call, put this theory out. And what he says is that NIMSA is the source of the modern emergence of the secret space program, which has possibly been present since the post-Civil War era, and that they created a breakaway civilization, that kind of thought. Who these people were members of the Sonora Aero Club initially. And hold on right here. In the 1850s, the Prussian Germans in Sonora, California, created the Sonora Aero Club and also anti-gravity airships. And then in the 1890s, they also created called gravito-electromagnetic technology for aerospace. These different people were the Gutenlob and Company in South America, as well as the Second Reich Nazis. And they may be behind even the Nazi Bell anti-gravity technology. And so I was thinking that it's possible that these mid-century aviation enthusiasts could have possibly been creating this secret space program for quite some time, like I said, before possibly the Civil War. So I think people should look into that, Walter Bosley and NIMSA, if they're interested in the secret space program.
Gotcha. Actually, I'm hearing of NIMSA for the first time, but it looks like Nightstalker's all over it in the chat. He's typing it before you're saying it again.
It's NYMZA.
NYMZA. Yep, got it. So I'll definitely look into that. It's not something I'm super familiar with, so I will check it out, and we will definitely get to that at some point. Fantastic stuff as always. So we're down to like a minute left here. So if you got to boil it down to just a little bit, what do you think it is? Do you think it's alien tech, re-engineered, reverse engineered, or do you think it's some human breakthrough of sorts? If you had to pin it down to one thing,
I think that this is a group of people who have separated themselves from our own modern civilization. They were running a parallel development of aviation before we were even flying planes. And they started out with anti-gravity technology involving airships. They have progressed dramatically. They were behind a lot of the Brill information that was going on during the Nazi Second Reich with the Nazi Bell, which we know that they had, as well as possible flying saucers. And I think that these people are, basically, that's all, pretty much, I guess.
All right, fair enough. Jennifer, would you please call back more? Would you join the Discord? I love your takes. Very, very smart. You seem to be all over this. Thank you so much for calling. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you. Great show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you very soon. Jennifer from Missouri. Good stuff there. What do you guys think? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're here with Ash. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. I'm here with your co-host, Ash the Reptilian from Mars. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and D-Live. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we are taking your phone calls. If you want to be part of the show, give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Just had a hell of a call from Jennifer in Missouri. Great stuff, as always, and lots of smart people out there. Lots of history to dig into and lots of conspiracy topics to really talk about. What is with the secret space program, the TR3B? Is it breakaway civilization? Is it secret technology? Is it reverse engineered UFOs? You tell me. Looking to hear from you guys. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And let's go. Welcome back. Earth to Mars. Ash, do you copy? Beep, 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 beep. How are you there, buddy?
Bonk, bonk. Yeah. Hey, what's up? I'm here. Nice. Hello, humans.
Nice. We ran out of time there. I know you caught Jennifer's call. And any take on that? That's some stuff I hadn't heard of before. How about you?
Yeah, there's definitely parts of that I am not. But you know, it sounds a little like the Project Play Paperclip stuff, right? Where we're supposedly after World War II, we acquired the top talent in the world, which was in the Nazi Reich, basically, where the most advanced scientists and professionals, and we wanted those so that the Russians wouldn't get them. And that they were absorbed into our government. And, if you watch Captain America, Winter Soldier, that's where Hydra was created. It's kind of actually, if you go and watch that movie, there's a lot of interesting conspiracy theory stuff in there. But that they kind of infested different components of our government and potentially were part of this breakaway civilization when they did create this advanced technology. And someone named Warner Braun, the head of that, he always said that there would be all these adversaries that we would run into. And he was right, man. We've pretty much checked all those off the list, and there's only one left, and that's the fake alien invasion. And that's a classic he's always said. So yeah, how breakaway is this civilization, right? Maybe she had mentioned that it was even sooner than that, right? There was some advanced stuff way before that. Dude, who knows, man? In the grand scheme of the universe and time and everything, like we wouldn't even be able to really even put two and two together. I mean, we could have literally been on Mars, and we could have been the civilization that messed that up there, and then came here. Everything had to restart. We've had 6 cataclysms since then, right? Potentially, that would have reset our civilization. All it takes is like one group to escape. So even now, even with this narrative of a breakaway civilization from World War II, let's say cataclysm hit now and they survive. Well, now there are new aliens, right? Now there's another set of aliens, right? Which is this breakaway civilization from us, who now have to restart civilization. And, it sounds like science fiction, but in the grand scheme of time and the scope of the universe, I mean, it's beyond imaginable that pretty much anything's possible.
Yeah.
So that's my hot take on her hot take, and that was a great call.
Yeah, good stuff. So Night Stalker here is elaborating. This is in the 1800s, the NIMSA and the Walter Bosley stuff. So I'll definitely take a look at this and see what I can dig out, and we'll get to this in the future here on one of the shows. But I think that's really part of this is if you do have sort of a breakaway civilization of sorts, the timelines, the time frames become let's say. Mixed up, like indecipherable, because I don't think there's any end to the amount of time that would pass because somebody came up with a breakthrough technology, meaning that they could hoard it forever. And we've seen things like people dying to protect, like you said a couple times tonight, the petrodollar, to protect like the gasoline industries, to protect the diesel industries, right? We've seen this type of stuff happen, like people actually end up dead. Matter of fact, the guy who actually invented the diesel engine ended up dead under suspicious circumstances when he was actually on a ship headed to talk to the the British Royal Navy about installing the new diesel engine into their submarines or into their ships, I believe it was. So, like, this goes back. Like this is not a thing where if you have this new technology that could literally replace everything that we're doing in the kind of clumsy events of diesel engines and all the carbon emissions and all these things, right? That stuff's real. Like I don't deny all that stuff's real. We're definitely putting that stuff out there, but how much is it affecting is the question. In my just to throw it out there so everybody knows that the official hot take here is that I don't believe the press and the things they're saying regarding it. So anyway, all right. So I don't know. Like there's a lot that kind of like I said, they will kill to protect the diesel engine and the petrodollar. So you better damn believe they might start wars to keep information like this from coming out, right? Like this stuff would be so hot it would change human civilization.
And let's say you're, so yes, and there are trillions of dollars of assets based on that system. And there's different factions, like the United States, that is number one and could lose number two status. In fact, a lot of people would argue that we are losing number one status, potentially to China. So there's all that going on. Plus, if you're an extraterrestrial species managing Earth, do you really want them to have this technology? And do you want it to be worldwide? I mean, the technology we're talking about is you can teleport a nuke to the White House like that, right? That's the kind of technology that we're talking about. And so there's rumors that the reason there's been this talk of a new world order, and that's kind of what we're seeing now, I think, in my opinion, there's a new world order attempts, right? And it's like backed by the UN and countries running it, is that we can't transition to, we can't let these things out of the bag because, if you have a terrorist attack, there goes Australia. There goes, Greenland, because the technology is so advanced that you can't allow people to have these freedoms and have access to these things and this information. I don't know how true that is. And I'd want to see the fine print, right? Like I'd want to see, that's a good excuse, right? To implement some sort of system. But, I've heard many times the transition would be, they don't want to manage it. And that we've been kind of stuck in the proverbial Stone Age for a long time because they don't want to manage their transition. And all those assets and everything. I mean, think about it. It's a mess. Anything that has to do with power is obsolete. The airline industry. I mean, look at COVID, dude. Look how devastating that was to us. Just like locking down, sort of locking down. Look how devastating that was for us, and how painful of a transition that was. So you can only imagine, going from 5 miles an hour to 1,000. That's kind of technology that we're talking about. But if this stuff exists, man, what a world that we could potentially be living in, right? Could be pretty awesome. So yeah, but who cares what I think? This is about what you guys think, right? So we're looking for more callers. We're going to keep going here. We got a little bit more time here on the radio. We continue our show online, but offline. We continue our show on YouTube and all the platforms. So come join us in our third hour as well. And I'm Ash, the Reptilian from Mars. I'm here with your hosts, Mike. I'm co-hosting on like I do out every Wednesdays, and we're talking about the secret space program, TR3Bs, Fluxliner, this kind of stuff. What do you guys think? Do you think the government has more than they're letting on? Do you think this stuff's going to come out? Do you think aliens, the space vehicles, any of the good stuff's going to come out in this UFO report that's due in the next few days? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where to put my money. Not yet, at least.
Exactly right. So we do have a phone call we're going to go to in just a sec. Link this up this is from mysteriousuniverse.org. U.S. Navy patents a triangular aircraft which alters the fabric of our reality. We'll talk about this and more as we continue to go, but let's go to the Night Stalker. This is Derek in Massachusetts. What's up? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and Ash. How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Great show tonight.
Thank you very much.
Cool stuff.
Thank you. What's your hot take here, man? I'm sure you got some good stuff for us.
First, I just want to say Jennifer crushed that call. Really great stuff. The Nimza whole saga is really cool, and it's probably worthy of its own episode.
Okay.
Walter Balsley will probably come on the show. I bet he's down to do an interview.
Nice.
Sure.
Okay. Something we'll look into for sure. So clearly you know about it. Go right ahead, sir.
I more want to take it on like the whole Stargate angle real quick. This will be kind of quick, but there's a giant contingency of conspiracy people who question the validity of like space as it's represented to us, and I'm like not necessarily one of these people. I choose to believe that space exists, but what if we can't like get out the way we think we can? Also, even still, I believe that there's like a huge portal system, it's closer to Stargate than it would be to Star Trek, where they have all these off-world bases linked together by this web of portals. And I think like that's like you mentioned it earlier. I posted it in the chat, but it's encoded in the Artemis mission and the Apollo missions, like in the actual like logos themselves. It has like that Stargate A on it, which is like the point. It's like in the Stargate mythology, it's like point of origin or whatever, and it sends you to where you're supposed to go. But the way I think the actual like portal system operates, it like uses like it's a kind of a long thing, but it uses like the whole river idea mixed with like sunlight, and that's the two like red and blue lines that are encoded. That's pretty much the entire logo is just these two lines going through this Stargate logo, and that's on the two missions to off-world bodies that we've been to so far. But then there's an actual grid. Like the whole point of this whole river portal thing that I talk about is because there's a grid that you can put into Google Earth. If you put the ecliptic, which is the path of the sun, the prime meridians, and the 7 major river deltas on the planet, it creates a grid, like the world grid, all over the planet that includes every sacred site you can possibly think of, every weird site that has weird stuff happening on it, like every like major thing you can think of that would be like this weird portal spot. It's included on this grid, and nobody created the rivers. That's just the fabric of reality type deal. And those 3 elements are what's encoded in the Space Force logo. Like the logo is the delta symbol, like the vector symbol is the delta symbol. It has the meridians behind it and the ecliptic around it with 2 star clusters, which could be like, I don't know what the star clusters are, but they could be where these bases are or whatever. And I think that's just a lot of weird stuff. And then there's the Gary McKinnon saga of that whistleblower hacker or whatever, who talks about like getting into like the NASA military files and finding out that the military has like a separate space organization, like a separate secret space program that has like a list of like all these off-world bases with like different admirals like working on them, which sounds like a Stargate type scenario. You know what I mean? And I just thought that's kind of a cool thing to toss out there. But yeah, everything you guys have been talking about has been great.
Yeah, I think that that Gary McKinnon needs to be its own show because there's a whole lot there. But he's one of the people that supposedly was the whistleblower of the actual secret space program, and we're talking like way out there type stuff, like almost to the level of Randy Kramer Marines on Mars, like almost that deep, right? Like it's like so deep, it's kind of unbelievable. So I think that's part of the problem here is that if, like I said, I don't have a problem believing there are things out there that they just don't let get out. Like it's not allowed to be on any kind of computer server. Like it's probably burn bag type stuff that like information goes, or who knows, entanglement, right? Like maybe they're communicating through quantum entanglement, and that's why this information hasn't gotten out. Like who knows? There's kind of a lot here to talk about. And as always, I think you're spot on with this. Anything else while we got you on here, man? I'm not trying to run you off. You got plenty of time.
No, and just like to tie it in with like the real technology and like the NIMSA stuff, kind of, and what this TR3B thing could be. Like, I think there's a chance I might have seen the TR3B. Like, when people ask me if I've ever seen a UFO, I say no, and I'm not sure if I have. Like, I live right near Lockheed Martin, and I was like, had the sunroof open. I was driving kind of slow, and I thought I saw like a triangular craft like right above me move and stop, and like stop midair and kind of go backwards and then forward again. But it's like a weird scenario where you're driving and you can't really tell like what's kind of, you know what I mean? Like you can't tell if it's stopped or not. So I kind of discredit it. But a lot of these sightings, like you're not seeing it in space. You're seeing it like flying around us, like the ground. So a lot of the real, like the Bell technology itself, it's designed mainly to be like resistant to radiation. Like the flying in space aspect of it, like the UFO aspect of it, has been like added onto it like through the years of like added mythology. But like the point of it is like Godzilla vs. Kong kind of nailed it with like the Hollow Earth aspect of it, is to get through that like energy barrier, like whatever that is, to get like through a portal or whatever. That's kind of like what in the real, it's all tied in with portals completely. So I think there's a strong chance that they have a very, very organized secret portal system that may be more prevalent than a secret space program, especially if you're somebody out there who doesn't believe that we can get to space in the way that they tell us we can. You know, I believe in space, but there's a lot of people who don't. I try to unify as much of the weird as I possibly can with these theories. You know, I just thought that was fun to add, but that's pretty much all I got tonight.
All right. I appreciate it. Always good stuff. This is the Night Stalker, Derek from Massachusetts. Thanks for calling, my man. I appreciate it always.
Chris, love you guys. Bye.
Thanks. Talk to you soon. There you go. If you guys want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. We're taking your calls all night. Hot take on that, Ash. I think that's good stuff with the portals, man. If there's no secret space program in the traditional sense, kind of a new way to look at it, maybe there's a way to travel through space to Mars and some other places with these very, very secret portals, as of course they would be. There's no way they'd let that information get out.
Right. I mean, there's so much. I'm like trying to figure out how I want to. There was such a good call. We've had such good calls tonight. I'm like trying to pick my spots here. So there's a lot to tackle there. There's a lot of good stuff there, and these have been really awesome calls. Really interesting. I almost for a second thought I was listening to a show and I was just waiting to hear more. You know. But yeah. So first off, you know, I agree. Like NASA, it seems like junk, right? They fake. Dude, have you ever watched a compilation of NASA's fake videos? It's terrible. They've been caught faking videos for so often, and so a lot of people's conclusion is that, you know, space is fake and all this kind of stuff. And he mentioned that, but you know, I suspect that NASA just takes the funding and pipes it over to the secret space program, and then every once in a while they need to produce something to the public, right? So that's what I think it is, and it's just BS. It's just a front. I mean, NASA in Greek is like to deceive or something like that. The Stargate Pro thing, hey man, like Stargate, I believe that the Stargate show and movies, I think that it wasn't like it was an idea and then they're like, all right, let's go put this out. I think that there was people in a room and they're like, we need to put out some disclosure information, and disclosure first, show second. I think that's how much those shows are seeded with disclosure. And I haven't even fully watched the TV series. Obviously not everything in there is put in there for disclosure or for some sort of backhanded information or secret handshake from the military to the public, but I think that Stargate and these things are full of it. And you know, it sounds crazy. We have bases on Mars. There was that one guy who said that we work with the Galactic Federation, that we have a base on Mars, and I even had that in one of my videos on my channel of these anchors laughing at that idea. But man, you don't know if all these things that we're talking about, all these rumors, these wisps of wind that we get, you know, that we kind of we detect or discover, or this guy saying that, this person's telling their story. If any one of these things are true, then going to Mars is easy. You know, it's easy. And so, but that's the problem, is that we're so far removed from the conversation that we have to speculate so hard, and we're over here piecing things together. And honestly, like, I'm not cool with it, man. Like it's for the human race, it's just, it doesn't work. It's not how we should do things. We should have these conversations and move forward. And who knows what it could be? It could literally be anything. It could be that vast. And then one last thing that he did mention is that he talked about Space Force, and like, cross-referencing some things from Stargate for the Space Force logo, we should probably spend more time looking at Space Force in general, right? Should really take their keywords and kind of follow them, because they created that branch and they kind of did it like, wow, it's an honor, but then they kind of they've been keeping it on the down low, if you've noticed. And I suspect, if we're talking about space and disclosure and aliens and all this stuff, I think Space Force is involved with that stuff. So, so good stuff. You actually you callers have put a lot of stuff on my plate to look up. So good stuff, and that's why we do this show, right? So we can we have smart people to teach us stuff, and I really liked it.
Good stuff. All right, so we got something from James at Salcedo Media here on Discord. He actually posted this a while back, but I thought it was important to point this out. He says, I've been listening to the show, and as usual, I love it. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. He says, my question is, if it hasn't already been asked, does there have to be one answer to all of this? As in, sure, I can imagine that there is a secret tech up or out there, but also I can imagine aliens, whatever they may be, flying around as well. And it's a fantastic point, right? So when we talk about these things on this show, it's really to ask questions, right? I wish there were easy answers to this, and you're spot on. Is that I think part of this this whole 6 month UFO report and the rest of this is kind of causing and creating a separation between what is actual our technology and the alien technology, or whatever the unknown is that's going on out there. It's a fantastic question, and I think you're right. I think that there's a possibility that all these things are happening all at the same time, and it ends up allowing a ton of this to kind of squeak through as we're just a bunch of crazies, right? I mean, like once you throw all this information out there, and we're talking about portals and stargates, and we're talking about flying in the 1800s, and we're talking about there's no such thing as space, right? And considering all possibilities, we're the nut jobs, right? And I think some of it is part way that it's that they like to stack these conspiracies on top of each other and then say, and they believe in 5G and they're anti-vaxxers, and I'll tell you what, they're all wrong about all of it. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I don't know. I think that's a fantastic point. Is that no? I don't think there's one easy answer to all of these things, because they're different things. I think that's really what the conversation is here. And a lot of people, when they talk about UFOs, they do talk about them in a linear fashion, right? Space, you travel from this place in space to another place in space. I think it's way more complicated than that. And so, of course, thinking in complicated terms, it brings up complicated questions. And here we are. Got like a minute left, Ash. Let's wrap this up. No, that's a good point. It's like, we're still speculating. We're getting so many rumors. The truth is always more complicated. And, when they're not even telling us the truth, we're not even included. It's a really hard puzzle to put together, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're here, guys. We all have troubled minds. Thank you for joining us. We talked about the TR3B, the secret space program. Tune in this week. The UFO report drops. History in the making. Pretty exciting. We'll be covering that as best we can here on Troubled Minds, and also on my channel, Ash Reptilian from Mars. Check me out. I stream on Sundays, and you can check me out on my live reptilian forum. Got a plug before we're done, right, Mike? And that's it. It's been a pleasure. We're going to move on to our third hour. We're going to continue streaming, and awesome. Good calls. Good show. All right, if you're listening on The Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're watching us on YouTube, DLive, or Facebook, we got a third hour of Troubled Minds coming at you. At the end of it, we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m., and we're keeping an eye out for the 6-month UFO report, so don't worry. We'll be your source. When it hits, we'll be the ones talking about it. We'll see you then. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thanks for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. This is Michael Strange from Troubled Minds. Did you hear that scientists recently discovered radio waves coming from Proxima Centauri? Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. We are broadcasting from that neck of the woods. You are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. 2 minutes. I'm going to call it good enough. 2-ish minutes, something or other. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. I'm here with your co-host, Ash the Reptilian from Mars. And tonight we're talking about, of course, the TR3B, this anti-gravity tech. What's going on with this stuff? How deep does this rabbit hole go? Or is it just a bunch of propaganda hooey that they're trying to kind of toss us off the trail with? We've heard calls actually all over the gamut tonight, and from the Night Stalker with the portal take, the Jennifer there with the fantastic stuff from the 1800s, and Nimza, and Paul saying that he believes a bunch of it is just to throw us off the trail of the real UFOs, that there might be some sort of disinformation campaign going on that leads back to this source, which is kind of a hooey source. And you see, right? Like there's so many rabbit holes that chase you down these ways that like Ash was saying, if they don't give us any information, or everything is obfuscated so hard and blacked out and redacted, then we kind of have to fill in the blanks, and people's imaginations can run wild. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. So as we continue talking about this, we've got some more technology and stuff to get into. There's tons of information here regarding the secret Space Force. So there is an actual quantifiable, definite 100% secret Space Force, like I said in the beginning of the show, that NASA is the PR front of. So we'll get into that in just a sec. But beep, beep, Earth to Mars. Ash, you're there, buddy. Are you there? It's time.
We're hello, are we off the radio?
It's exactly. It's time. You can take your pants off now. It's totally time.
Fuck yeah! Let's. I just have holding it in. I'm just like, oh god, don't do it. So I was like, even, I had to mention generals just to mention them, just to kind of get through. But yeah, no, it's we're talking about secret space programs, and just like you said with the report coming out, and we're imaginations are running wild, right? Where do we think they're gonna land? And are they gonna like just walk us in and here's the bodies, here's this, here's the UFO, here's the TR3B, and that's who's in charge. And fuck you guys are on your own. And then they just teleport to Mars, and that's where they live. And we're, and then we got to deal with like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer as our gods.
Dear God, no. Dear God, no.
See, I grabbed one from both sides.
Dear God, no, they're on the same side.
I grabbed the turtle and the demon.
They're on the same side. You got to throw in the turkey, Mitch McConnell, and then we're square. Taylor from Texas.
Yeah. That's what I meant to say. Who did I say? You said
Schumer and Pelosi. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Oh no, I meant to grab the turtle. Yeah. See, that's how little I care anymore.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell. That's what I meant to say. Those two. It's
fine. They're all the same.
But you can throw him in as a third. No, okay, go ahead.
What's the difference if they're all the same? What's up, Taylor from Texas? I missed half the show. Looks like a VOD episode. All right. What's up, Sherry? Thanks for showing up. Says, confusing is the name of the game. And if it's a secret space program, would they tell us about it? Then it wouldn't be that secret, would it? Good point, Sherry. What's up? Thanks for showing up. Good morning, Tam Bam. How are you? What's up, Cole?
Space program.
Dear God. Cole doesn't want to see you without your pants. Dear God, no. Yeah. Anyway, so we're just goofing around. So, all right. So then, now think in terms of this, right? Back to the secret space program. So it's one thing to say that, all right, the TR3B, right? It's probably the most famous, quote, government UFO. Whether it's real or not, fine. I'll leave that up to you. I don't know. But interestingly, there's a whole bunch of different things that are happening in space that really don't get a lot of press. All right. Now, specifically, let's go to this. This is from the nationalinterest.org. And this is U.S. Air Force has a plan to counter China's super lethal satellite killer weapons. And this is the type of stuff that's going on out there, right? So when they tell us, they say, oh, well, NASA is not the PR front of a secret space program. They're full of crap, right? So this is just one example. So straight from the article here, just to give you a little bit of insight in what's going on here. To better defend against enemy space attacks, the Air Force and Pentagon are pursuing a strategy aimed at countering the fast-emerging weaponization of space, service officials said. Earlier this year, the service mapped out a multi-dimensional space weapons defense plan. I'm going to just let that hang in the air. Multidimensional, whatever that means, resulting from several years of space-focused analysis and research. In 2014, the service conducted a space strategic portfolio review in which the entire space architecture was assessed. By 2015, the Air Force had completed a space situational awareness review highlighting the range of key space security issues as a foundation for the changing strategy. The idea, naturally, is to prepare the U.S. space enterprise for a more threatening, high-risk, contested environment, anti-satellite technologies proliferating around the globe. Now, this is exactly what we're saying here, is that they've been trying to weaponize space for a very long time. You remember, you go back to the 80s with Ronald Reagan, the SDI, the Strategic Defense Initiative. They maligned it as Star Wars. He was talking about satellites firing lasers at nuclear missiles and knocking them out of the sky as they kind of went into the lower atmosphere, right? So
sounds dope.
Yeah, right.
Sounds pretty cool.
Like how sick is that? But yeah.
Did you see the Israeli? I'm sorry, I'm tangenting ADD. But did you see the Israeli dome, the Iron Dome defense? In action?
Yeah,
that was insane. That was
impressive,
wow.
Right?
So now imagine those are all nukes, and the other ones are lasers. that's what we're talking about, right? Like, pew, pew. Yeah. So
it exists.
Yeah,
it totally exists.
That was in the 80s, right? That was the 80s, right? With Reagan.
Yeah. So the Reagan thing was the 80s, and we're talking, I think, probably 1984 when that was going on. Oddly enough, the year 1984. But I mean, so that's the thing, right? Is that not only have they weaponized space, it's happened, right? It's happened. Regardless of these treaties, you're not supposed to weaponize space and all this crap they talk about all the time, right? Nobody gives a damn about those treaties, right? Like, this is the craziest part. Remember the Russia and the missiles and the whole thing in that treaty, the thing with Gorbachev and Reagan, and no missiles, no bullshit. They've been making these missiles ever since. Like, nothing has changed. They make these treaties and they're symbolic, but it seems like nobody sticks by them because you can't go into Russia and verify, check all their weapon stocks to make sure they haven't made a particular type of missile. You know what I'm saying? Like it's impossible. So you end up spying on each other with satellites and playing these games with actual spies on the ground, and that's the world we live in. But these deals, in what I'm getting back to here is that there is a deal in place, which we talked about not too long ago on this show, as a matter of fact, where we're not supposed to weaponize space. There's an actual treaty that was signed back in 1967 where we're not supposed to. And yet here we are. There's an article right here from the National Interest. And not only that, this is from 2016. By the way, from 2016, They were talking about exactly China's super lethal satellite killer weapons. And they're not the only ones. There's Russia, there's all kinds of other stuff. So before I get into any of the other stuff and maybe the X-37B and the rest of this, and anything to tack onto that while we're doing this, Ash?
Oh, I'm listening, man. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm learning. I actually this is a gap in my knowledge where officially what the government reports, it is fucking crazy that a lot of these things don't get press. They don't get media press, right? Not really. And then you got to find them in these obscure articles of these technologies, what China's doing, what we're doing. It's pretty nuts. But yeah, let's do it. I'm excited to learn.
All right, there's more. Sociable.co. Link in this in the chat, and you guys can follow along as always. Now remember, right, we're talking about the TR3B as a part of a secret space program, which of course, they deny that there's a secret space program at all, which of course, like Sherry said, it wouldn't be very secret if they didn't, right? Which is a fantastic point. It's like one of those punch yourself in the face, why am I talking about this type points? Like, checkmate. Okay, you win. You win, you're right. But even though, you dig in a little bit further and you see things like this from sociable.com, or sorry, .co. Beijing and Moscow have weaponized space through killer satellites, directed energy weapons, defense sec. Remember this was 9 months ago. We talked about this when it happened. And so not only are we talking about killer satellites anymore, now we're talking about DEWs, which are of course directed energy weapons. So the levels of actually militarizing space, they scale quickly, right? We're talking about just a few years ago, they were assessing the situation, they say, and now they're like, well, we got DEWs in space, right? And so it's like, okay, well, what now? What's next, right? Like we got the X-37B up there, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. But point being, we got killer satellites, right? And they say that if they take down our GPS, the world goes to hell in a handbasket. That's what we're told, right? The world goes to hell in a handbasket. The banks stop working. Your digital money that is like digits on a screen disappears, right? It's gone. Boop, vaporized because, well, it wasn't real money anyway. I mean, if we're being perfectly honest. I mean, but now
Mike, don't tell them. Exactly. Don't tell them that.
Exactly.
We can't know that.
Exactly. But the digits on the screen that represent your fake money also vaporize, right? So even the representation of the fake money, you see, is also now gone. But anyway, like these are the things they tell us about this. But I'm not so sure that's the case, right? Like if you blast out our GPS satellites, I'm not quite sure our society would end tomorrow. But there would probably be a little bit of chaos for quite a while. But anyway, so yeah, the weaponization of space, killer satellites, directed energy weapons. What the hell else is going on out there? And that's really the conversation tonight. Is the TR3B part of that conversation, or is it something completely different? And I know we got Kelly in here, but any hot take before we go to Kelly there, Ash?
I've noticed a trend where Russia used to be the big bad guy, but now we're assessing all the vulnerabilities that we could have from China, not just in space, but in general. I know we were concerned about EMP and that our infrastructure could take a hit. So that's one way to kind of shut everything down. There was rumors that a lot of the forest fires, like in California and other places, were created by heat weapons that potentially for some space. There were some really weird pictures. But more better evidence was that, you would have areas that were completely untouched by fire, and then others where cars were melted down. Like fires don't do that, There's a lot of weird stuff going on. I suspect that, there's been a lot of craziness bubbling under the surface, and maybe there's been a Game of Thrones with this advanced technology, these TR3Bs. I know one TR3B or pyramid UFO, it's literally a black pyramid, was photographed, I think, over the Pentagon. And there's like multiple videos of this from different angles, and you could just see it hovering there, it's fucking wild. Go look up that video, Black Pyramid, Pentagon, and there's like 3 different angles of this thing with people in cars just being like, "Wait, what the hell's that?" and pulling their phones out. Really weird stuff. So, like someone mentioned earlier, it's not simple. It's probably very complicated. All these things are true, and TR3B is just one of many mysteries, assets and tools under the surface to the chess game that they're playing.
Oops, I muted myself. I'm all talking. Nobody's hearing me. All right. Righto. All right.
Dramatic pause.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That we'll just call that a dramatic pause. Nobody believes it because I talk far too fast for that. Let's go to Kelly. What's up, Kelly? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and Ash. How are you, bro? What do you think about all this secret space stuff? How deep down the rabbit hole does this go? Is it go back to the 1800s with NIMSA, like Jennifer said when she called, which was a fantastic call, by the way? Is it portals, like Night Stalker said? Is it like just as simple as space satellites, killer satellites, like I'm talking about? Odd how you kind of have to have your feet in 3 different universes to even talk about this stuff, right? Like Frank used to say. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing, man? Just wanted to call in, give some different perspectives and some comments.
Sure, go right ahead, sir. You're in the right place for that.
Get us. Yeah, man. Welcome aboard.
Okay, for the TR3B. All right, so everybody knows where the whole function from them came from. Where we needed a spy plane, and then after that we had the SR-270 Blackbird, right? And then we had the B-2 bomber, which looks like a wing, right? More or less. That also, some of that stuff, that technology, or even that design, actually came from Germany. from the whole paperclip thing too, where it looks just like a wing, right? But then what? You also heard after that, that kind of leaked pretty quick, which was called the Aurora Project, and that's the black triangle that I believe everybody's, and it's actually been photographed from the space station too, the black triangle, and in different some of the STS pictures. I can't remember which ones it was, the numbers exactly, but if you look it up, I'm pretty sure you could, check it out. But it shows it in progression, this black triangle, pulling away from the space station. But it's a pretty good photos as well. But, some of these other ones that the people has other photos, I'd link, the one with the one in the thing in the middle, it looks like, they have, I think it was in Belgium where the better picture was from underneath, and you can see the red light in the middle and the 3 lights on the ends. And now something like that, I believe, is the TR3B, because it's just a different design. It's the same. It's a triangle shape, but I believe the black triangle itself, the one that looks like the stealth bomber, or the B2, that's the Aurora Project, and we've been working on that one, since after, because when people don't know. I don't know if people know if when the Blackbird came out, that was like what, almost 60 years. They were already, that thing was older, so they don't even really care when some of that stuff comes out. That's what I'm saying. But they did stick their foot in their mouth, like we were talking about last night, by doing that. Kind of talking about it, actually saying they're going to release something. So we're just seeing. But what was interesting, I didn't catch all of that, what Jennifer was saying about the thing about in the 1800s. That was pretty interesting. But I did not catch all of it. What was that called?
NYMZA, NYMZA, and the name is Walter Bosley, is the guy she was talking about. I haven't. I've only vaguely heard of it, and so I'll have to dig in a little bit. I'm not familiar enough to really comment other than what she was saying there.
Yeah, there's actually another thing too. That came out in that kind of area, like through Europe. I don't know if anybody's heard that one. It's called everybody talks about von Braun. He was the Rocketeer guy, right? But there was a manuscript that was coming out of Romania. It was called the Sibiu, I guess. It's Sibiu. It's a 400-page manuscript, and it was made by a man named Conrad Haas. All right, he was in the Transylvanian army, but he was the whole thing. It was found in 1961. But what's interesting is it even talks about liquid fuel, multi-stage rockets, and actually the construction, how to even build them and stuff. And that was like in the 1500s.
Yeah, that's so. That one I know a little bit about as well. But I mean, if we're going way back like that, it just means that. I don't know. I would think that it doesn't seem likely to me that those are natural breakthroughs, right? Like some people have speculated that, like Robert on Facebook there says that he thinks that the aliens are us from the future. So if that's the case, I mean, if we're making stuff in the 1500s or the 1800s or whatever the hell's going on, I mean, I would be open to the idea of all kinds of other things, like maybe not these portals just being in space, but time space, and you're actually able to travel around, because that's a ton of information there, and some pretty big thoughts, right? Like talking about a secret space program like hundreds of years ago, before the Wright brothers even. I mean, that seems you got to have all angles open for that, all channels open, right?
Oh, the Wright brothers. There's actually even, I don't know if anybody's heard this story either, but there was actually even there was a man who built an aircraft that was in India way before. I think like 100 years even before, 50 years before the Wright brothers, they say the Wright brothers had the first flight. This man built an aircraft that flew over this Ganges, I think it's the rivers that runs through there. I don't know if it's the Ganges, I don't know if I'm correct or not, but one of the major rivers, and it stayed up for a couple, like I think a minute and a half, and then it came down. I can't remember his name too, but because I just can't pronounce those, their names. And some of those guys have got some long old, about 15 letters in their names. But, yeah.
You don't speak Russian? What the hell's wrong with you, Kelly?
No, or even Russian too. That's there's another one. But It's pretty crazy, man. But it even goes further back than that. If you really think about it, like I say, if you just go back to Sumerian times, when they were talking about or even they had rockets, coming and going, from Earth, and even for examples, you have Belbek, Lebanon. The literal meaning for that one is the landing spot. That's why would you have big ass rocks like that, boulders and shit, just flat, plain, nothing else. You know what I mean? And then after that, the Romans came and built, I think, the Parthenon on top of that. But why would you have something massive like that? You know what I mean? And where there was some of that one, the big one is still unquarried. It was moving into place, but it was just, it's just sitting there, kind of sideways.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes sense that there's basically a third party, right? What, UFOs, aliens, time travelers, birds from another dimension, who knows, that has access to this technology. We've kind of seen it throughout history. There's been sightings, all kinds of stuff. And then at some point, humans, our current culture, has gotten their hands on it and made their own. And I would be safe to say that I would put my money on that, right? That alone, right? And that there's been sightings of these different kinds of UFOs throughout history, but the TR3B itself kind of doesn't really show up until a certain year, and then tons of people see it all the time. So it's just like a good hint that it's probably something that we've developed recently, some one of us. And that, like you mentioned, it's kind of based on designs. I actually, I just found some videos of the pyramid, the Black Pyramid that we were talking about. And I have one where it's over the Pentagon and one where it's over the Kremlin. And recently in the UFO videos, the Navy has video of pyramids just hanging out, harassing them and swarming them, their ships. So, maybe we'll learn a little bit more information. We could start actually putting together this complicated quilt of mysteries, right? We could start kind of fill in the blanks. I don't know. I'm pretty excited for the report, though. I mean, even if they literally say nothing, I think that itself is something we can discern from that, right? Alone. So, but yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah. I want to get to those guys. The other theory that they were talking, the whole, it's kind of a touch of the flat Earth theory where you can't get into outer space. I kind of seen that where people saying that every rocket that takes off has just arches and doesn't go into outer space, or there's a bubble or something that we can't get out of. Then that's where, you get into religion, and they say is the Fairmount or something like that, what do they call it?
Firmament.
Yeah, the firmament.
Yeah, hey,
Kelly,
Kelly, real quick, before you get into that real fast, are you in a hurry or you want to hang out a little bit? Because we got a caller on right now, so if you're going to wrap it up, we'll let you do that and then go to the caller. But if you want to hang out, we'll go to the caller and then let you finish after him.
No, I was gonna take a couple minutes and I was gonna finish up, and then you can finish on there. But what I was gonna say was the portal parts. The portal parts, just real quick, the portal parts was actually, I've seen that kind of touched on the ancient aliens when they were talking about the fake doors things, the false doors. You find that in Peru, we have a door just cut out of it. Looks like a door cut out of out of a wall or something. You find it in India, where in their temples they look like doors, but they don't think they move. But so I believe they move. You find the big things over in Saudi Arabia. Or, you have that where the jump gate part, that's what the whole Tower of Babel was, because what was it called? It was a gateway from heaven to earth, So that's one theory that that whole gateway jumping thing. That I believe that's actually a thing, as well as all the rockets and all these other, these new stuff that we got, I would say it's ours, but it's got to be the technology came from somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure. And again, not trying to run you off. You're okay. You don't have to hurry. Did you know, by the way, that you've got static on your line? People are speculating in the chat that you're being wiretapped. You know too much, Kelly.
Of course they would be. I love it.
Man, they get me on Facebook all the time, so I wouldn't doubt it.
just pointing it out, just in case you didn't hear it. We're hearing some static on your line, but yeah, go ahead and continue, sir. I think you're right. Like a lot of that is it just depends, right? It just depends on how deep you view that rabbit hole. Is it ancient tech, right? I mean, some people speculate that, the like you said, the spaceship. There's a spaceship from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth buried underneath the Sphinx in Egypt, right? Like this type of stuff. Like if that tech was that old, then it's really not that hard to believe that it's 1800s or 1500s or something is legitimate with some sort of UFO craft.
Well, it's older than that, Mike. I mean, it's we're as a species. Like if we go back in time from even a million years old, or even a couple million years old, right? That they can really find us, but they're finding technology or weird, out of place, artifacts that are like supposed to be like that hammer that was supposed to be in some the coal. And that thing is actually, too, it started, the handle and everything. That's pretty suspicious, but that's supposed to be like 100 million years old. I mean, some of that stuff, the science already proves sometimes, though, like, in different components where it could, like some things age a little bit faster than others. But, so when you find some stuff like that, or those little springs, so it looks like, they're very minute. And then, there looks like little coils they found in Russia. I mean, that type stuff tells you that, it's old. I mean, like we're talking, even science says it has to be millions of years or decades, thousands of years or millions of years older, than we can even, fathom right now. And that's what I'm saying. That with our species, we're actually young anyway.
Yeah, like babies. We're literally like babies in the cosmic timeline.
Mm-hmm. Seriously.
Yep. We've had 6 world cataclysms, civilization resetting cataclysms on this planet. So it's like, if there's another planet that even just within our timeline didn't have any of those, they would be that much further ahead of us, beyond what we even understand. There could be a trillion universes out there, and beings are traversing between them, or some aliens came here and hung out, or maybe someone in the future came back way too early. Anything's possible, right? And we really wouldn't know.
Yeah, that was crazy. That what you just said, kind of. There's another thing that was from what was his name? He said he jumped in time. He was on that ship when they were trying to make a camouflage, but it was jumped in time.
Oh, the submarine thing, where the people were immersed into the walls.
No, it was that was it, but it was a submarine. It was a battleship, or not a battleship.
Oh, okay.
Destroyer. Right. Anyway, I can't remember his name right now, but he was saying that he met with these people called, I don't know if anybody's heard this theory either, but he said he met with these people called the Wingmakers, right? And that they were part of the future. And they were sending back these capsules, and they were all over the world, right? And some of them have been found. One where there was like an earthquake, and they found it in Chaco Canyon over in Mexico. And what they were was that they were like, AI, and they ran everything. And people lived on these like floating cities, and these cities were like floating over oceans and whatnot. They were just like, they traveled, they can just like move around, and travel around. But everything was ran by these wingmakers. And these wingmakers, and it was crazy because, they had like different art that they put in these capsules. They had like these different art or music or like how to, like some parts, there was these discs that, when they spun, I don't know, they said they had they really didn't get in, he didn't get into detail with that, but, but what it sounded like to me, it was like a lot of information on these discs or something, right? But yeah, it's a weird story, but every time I hear that, it just goes back to that where the people that were coming back were from the future. But yeah, I mean, you've ever heard that. I don't know if anybody else has.
Yeah, no, that's a new one to me as well. Like, and so many angles here, right? Like, I've been doing this for 3 years, talking about all kinds of crazy stuff, and there's still, you hear things you never even heard of or considered before. Definitely, man. Definitely crazy stuff. So we got Robert on the phone again. So like I said, I'm not trying to run you off, but I just want to make sure we get to this guy. He's been sitting there for 12 minutes now. I got a timer.
No, man, go ahead. I don't mind. I'll hang out.
Okay. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We're going to go to Robert in Washington. Here we go. Robert, you're on Trouble Minds with Mike, Ash, and Kelly. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How have you been?
Pretty good. What is on your mind tonight?
So I saw the title, and something that really piqued my interest because I have some experience in this field. Yeah, and I just first of all, I want to say the discussion over the past 15, 20 minutes that I've tuned in has been excellent. A lot of these people are pretty spot on their ideas. Obviously, there's a lot of confusion because it's really hard to confirm these type of things because they're secret experiments by our government, right? So my mentor worked with the people that did the Philadelphia experiment, which is where they tried to make that ship cloak, and the people ended up fusing into the walls and stuff like that. And he also worked with the Majestic 12. And I mean, he worked for the CIA unknowingly. He's a really prominent chemist. Like his name's on the patent for MDMA. He used to make LSD for the CIA before he knew what he was doing, and then he quit. And luckily, they didn't kill him. But they've been, obviously kept tabs on him ever since then. But as I said, I'm really educated about the Tesla technology, and a lot of stuff that is not in paperwork you can readily find. As we know, the government took a lot of his papers when he passed away, and the reason they were so interested in him is because of the type of technology that we're talking about tonight. Germany itself was extremely advanced in this type of technology. The Hitler regime kind of really started to focus on that in their later years. They were able to build UFOs. They have patents on them. They're all readily available. Nikola Tesla himself has patents for flying machines, utilizing this same technology that I'm going to start getting into here in a second. So I think your title talks about liquid mercury in a nuclear field, right? Or excited by a nuclear field, correct?
No.
He's talking about he's talking about this drive that it's pretty standard. Supposedly, the drive, how it works is it's like a cylinder, right? When it spins. And it uses these the fluids, and it creates a field, right? I've heard about this, and I've even heard in abductions when people are abducted, and they get to tour ships. That literally looks exactly like that. It's a cylinder, a vertical cylinder going down the middle of the ship, right? Yeah. So continue. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But that's not what we're talking. We didn't mention that, but that's supposedly how these things work.
Like we're talking. That's anti-gravity tech, right? Anti-gravity tech is what you're talking about.
Well, no, that's the name of this.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that was the title of the show. If you went in there, that you're correct. That it was like it was a that mercury spun in a field. Yeah, you're correct.
You guys are tripping me out. I'm going to read my own title here. Pressurized mercury accelerated by nuclear energy to produce a plasma field. Right. Okay. The fabled TR3B. Okay. Yeah. All right. I stand corrected. I copy pasted that.
All right.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Wow, we all got them, guys. Good job.
My bad. I'm glad everybody read it but me. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
No worries. It just kind of piqued my interest because, like I said, I'm really familiar with this technology. So liquid mercury works it is not the best liquid metal to use. There are these other ones. They're basically referred to as liquid gold. They basically explode in the atmosphere. You have to utilize them in vacuum and put them like into vessels under oil or something like that where they're not exposed to oxygen because it's extremely highly oxidative. So either way, it doesn't matter which liquid metal you're using. You can do this, and then you put it into a electromagnetic induction field. And what it causes is a vortex, and it creates this levitation technology. And it does way more than that, but I know that for a fact you can create, there's videos online where you can see like MIT and places like this studying this technology and proving you can levitate objects. They just haven't figured out all the keys on how to, make a spacecraft fly, publicly anyways. But it's absolutely true. And so like rockets and all that kind of cool stuff, yeah, you can get into low-level Earth orbit. You cannot leave low-level Earth orbit with standard travel methods, what we utilize. It's actually impossible. So if you utilize a technology like this, what you can do is manipulate space-time, because they're essentially the same thing. They separate them into two words, but space and time are the exact same line, right? So what you can do is you can travel interplanetary or inter-universe or what have you, but you cannot use it with a rocket ship. There's a lot of radiation. There's particles traveling at unquantifiable speeds in space. So that would just tear everything apart. NASA has not ever been telling you the truth. NASA is one of the arms of the old German government. Like, we brought them and the Russians on board in order to kind of develop this technology that we never show people. We just slowly expose them to it. When we've had this technology for like 60 or 80 years, then we show something like the bombers and the stealth technology and things like that. So yeah, I just thought it was an interesting topic of conversation. So I just wanted to put my piece out there, and
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. As usual, you only called us a few times, but when you do, you're dropping some pretty deep knowledge. We're still going to do a show together, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to get out to see. So my mentor had passed, but he's literally got a basement full of these documents that you cannot find, and because the internet's it's a cool little tool, but it's very manipulatable. Like, there's, you see it one day, it's gone the next,
Right, exactly.
And a lot of this technology and his papers and his lectures and stuff like that are all available at my friend's house. So I kind of like to get down there and get some more information on exactly what I want to talk about.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like I told you before, Tesla was a Venusian. Like, he's on record, like, he's not of this planet, and he was definitely in tap with the Akashic records, or whatever you want to call it. He had deep knowledge that most people on this planet don't have, and he tried his hardest to share that with the world. Like the reason that Russia and Germany, even Australia, have this kind of information is because he didn't want any one nation on the planet to have this kind of information. He wanted them all to work together for the greater peace of the world. So he split up the information, gave everybody a little key. So they would have to work together in order to do this, and they haven't. So they've been trying to develop, it's like playing with a kid's RC toy versus driving a Tesla or something stupid like that. It's totally different. It's just kind of an idea of how things work.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to be able to figure it out unless they unify.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. I got you. Very much the Tower of Babel type of thing with the language. Great metaphor there. So I appreciate it, man. So when you get that information, we've been in contact. You've got my email. Please let me know. I'd love to have you on the show. We'll go into this in depth. Okay. Thanks again, Robert from Washington.
Go
ahead,
Wait,
Robert. Before you go,
Okay.
go ahead, Kelly. I had a question too.
Go ahead,
I was just going to ask.
The propulsion you were talking about, that the fuel that explodes in the in oxygen, and that it has to be in a vacuum. It almost sounds like that would be a propulsion for space, and then that is almost like an ion propulsion, or like an ion engine. Is that am I understanding that correctly?
That's essentially how it works, yeah. And you can do it here on the planet, but like I said, it has to be, in a vacuum. It has to be, zero oxygen. And then if you stimulate it with a magnetic field, then it starts to spin in this vortex. And with this vortex technology, that's how you can move anywhere, any direction. You can levitate objects, It depends on how you apply the technology. It's very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I've read a little bit about something like that. Almost kind of like I can't remember the guy who did it though right at this moment. But yeah, he actually even made like a vortex. I wouldn't say it was like an engine, but I guess more or less what he would be. But yeah, you would spin, the liquid mercury or whatnot, and then that's where they were saying they were getting anti-gravity and oh man, I think even Otis T. Carr was because he was supposed to spin his I don't know, they say he might have been Tesla's protege or not, but he had that one, like I was saying, it was called the OTC X1 or something like that. Yeah, it's his vehicle, but it was an anti-gravity.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's like understanding electricity or something like that. It has a bunch of different applications. It just depends on how it's applied. And I think that when they did these experiments, like the Philadelphia experiment and stuff like that, they had thousands and thousands of electromagnetic coils on the boat that they tried to make disappear. They just really didn't understand how to dial in the technology. Like Tesla said, everything comes down to frequency, vibration, and induction, I believe. But yeah, I mean, it's something I'd look forward to talking further about in the future. I just wanted to give a call because the title kind of spoke to me in a way, and I honestly just don't believe our conventional methods for reaching space actually work. You cannot get past the Van Allen radiation belt. Even NASA has come to say this, and they're like, well, why don't we go back to the moon? You can't get past the Van Allen radiation belt. So it kind of proves that they never went to the fucking moon. And then even if, let's say they did, when they hit the moon, they said it rung like a bell, like it was just hollow. So, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff to discover out there, and hopefully, the human race can come together in a way where we can get more of this technology, because I think as long as we're warring with each other and we're using primal, aggressiveness towards each other, I don't think that anybody else is going to be willing to help us. But, Mr. Strange, I don't know if you've gotten the opportunity to, but if you look up on, like I said, on Hello-Earth, you can find a book called The Wall of Light, and it's a autobiography and biography by Nikola Tesla, and it explains a lot of his interaction with these Venusians, these aliens, and how he was able to travel through space without actually being in like a conventional vehicle or something like that. So.
Gotcha. Okay, I will check it out. I appreciate the heads up. Like I said, please get back to me when you do the research you need. We'll have you on the show. We'll talk about this in full depth, okay? I appreciate it, my man. Robert from Washington, you're welcome anytime. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling.
All right. Thanks, brother. You guys have a good one.
Thanks, bro. You too. You too. Appreciate it. All right. Any takes on that? We got Beechwood on the phone too. So no giant hurry, but don't want to keep people waiting forever. So that's why. If it seems weird, like I'm kind of just like trying to shoehorn shit in or glaze over what people said, I'm just trying to include everybody. That's all. So just so you guys know. So go ahead. And if you guys have comments on that, feel free. Oh, Beechwood's already on. How'd that happen? No, he's not.
What's up, Beechwood?
He's not. He's not.
What's up?
That's Kelly.
No, F you, Beechwood.
What up, Beechwood?
No, I don't think he's on. All right, so I think that's Kelly. I hear clicking. I heard clicking. I thought it was Beechwood. I think it's Kelly. All right, so comments on that, guys. Go ahead. Comments on that. I don't like the things he was saying are important there. I don't want to glaze over that. So, Kelly and Ash, go ahead.
Well, have you heard of the story of the Thor, Valiant Thor, who supposedly worked with our government? We had a whole episode about the remote viewers seeing that we've met with the aliens, and then there's that guy who said we work with the Galactic Federation, and then my friend whose uncle is in the know took him out to the woods, made them leave their phones, and he said it's more like Men in Black than you would think. So who knows, man? Maybe there's there's all these secret aliens, and Tesla was one of them, and and the world just hasn't been ready for whatever reason, or I mean, honestly, that sounds awesome. That sounds great. I like that beings are among us and are willing to help and work with us, and that the universe is complex like that. And I hope so. I hope it isn't just like dickbag government, military and secret, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hope it's like, it's complex and varied like that. Then just like, he's fucking government just keeping another secret. So, I've heard about the drives before. It is interesting. And there's supposedly we're in a chess game with the aliens where it's like, they gave us tech, but we shot down. They gave us like older tech in a deal, and then we shot down like their newer stuff. And that we supposedly shoot them down, and that's what the Balbazar is, and that there's different kinds of propulsion, and we've mastered some of the simpler ones, but there's more complex ones. And I don't know. And then we're doing a tremendous amount of things in space, and the space race is heating up, and who knows what that whole question mark is, right? And that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about all these kinds of stuff. So good conversations all around.
For sure.
Kelly, what do you think about that?
Go ahead, Kelly.
Just real quick, I just wanted to say I can't wait to hear some of that information. Yeah, because a lot of that gets weird too. Like, I've heard that conversation too as well, Ashes, where they used to take down these UFOs, but how they were doing it was through radar systems. And the radar somehow was taking it, throwing it off somehow. Their gyros or whatever that was on that older tech, we were able to take it down, right? And that's what we have. But and it's what's interesting with that is that the old that guy that I was talking about that took down the towers, the John Hutchinson effect, and what he was using was old radar systems. Is what he was using. That's the story, was it? And they showed him like all in there, and that's what they look like too. It's like the AT and AE stuff that I used to see in the military. It's just big, like radar systems. They're just like controlling, and I don't know what they're using. I think it's some kind of crystals or something to boost that power. But whatever it is, it's affecting something. And with the Hutchinson effect, it also can create anti-gravity, and it makes everything. If you guys ever seen the videos, it's incredible. He could take a bar of steel and like some of the hardest steel that we have, right? He put to test and it just spun it around. It just looks like someone, like he took it and wrung a piece of cloth out, and everything in the where it was at, where in the middle where it's being spun around, it just like the metal just disappears. You know what I mean? It's gone. It just everything. It takes it. It just like breaks it all the way down to the molecules. Like to everything. It just nothing. It just don't look like anything's there anymore. You need to take an interesting look at that if you guys ever see that stuff. But yeah, they were doing there was a TV news show that was they were talking with him, but they're the ones who caught that. What it was a broom. The very first time that he seen it was a broom lifted off the ground in the back. So they were like, "Did you see that?" And then they rewind it back, and that's when he was like, "All right, there's something else that you can do with stuff." Back then, I guess they couldn't control it, but I'm pretty sure they got it now. That's your direct energy weapon. One of it could be, that's what they were trying to, that's what they were kind of looking more into it with that one, but it's anti-gravity as well. But it's crazy too. It's the power that is pretty incredible to even think about that one. But yeah, the propulsion that, what's his name? Richard, I believe he's got, I can't wait for that conversation to happen, but yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of crazy, and that's the thing about it. I believe that there's millions of different civilizations out there. We're just stuck on this rock because they're not really. Maybe we got their some technology from them or whatever, with crash landed or whatnot, whatever you want to call it. Right? We got it somehow. Somebody and it's old, but now you just that's why they want people to take a look at it, see what they can, do with it. Reverse engineer. Right.
Yeah, that's that whole, supposedly that they hit the limitations on metamaterials, and that's my theory, is that they, and based on what I've seen, is that they can't physically reproduce the materials needed to kind of get to the next level, and so they're trying to bring the public in, scientists and whatever, in the conversation to accelerate that process, because supposedly the materials are like crazy. There's like tons of layers. Yeah, and who knows what advanced crap is out there. I mean, look, I was surprised to find out that the soul might be real, and anything that we don't understand is just technology. Anything that's like magical or woo-woo is just technology we don't understand. What kind of fucking technology would be behind the soul? Like, what the hell does that even mean, right? So who knows what kind of crazy shit is out there? And yeah, man, it might be Narnia in this bitch in space, So that's what I'm hoping too, man. I'm hoping it's crazy.
The wardrobe.
You know what? I believe.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I believe that's what it is, and that's there's millions of them. It's just what I mean. It's like we have to prove ourselves first. To actually even, and when we get there, we'll see it all. If there is a breakaway civilizations and these governments are all together and they know something, let's put that, the whole ancient alien thing aside, and we're just doing this all by ourselves, and we're trying to get off this rock. But yeah, we have to get off this rock. If it's not like we can't help this planet. We just can't. Sometimes you just can't. Like if we have a full tilt on this bitch, and then everything else, that's where you have a great flood again, and you have millions that die. Fuck, what else are you gonna do? So you got to try to get off and watch this shit, from above or something. But if we're trying to do that, you think, all these other ancient civilizations that are like, jump gating through shit, want to, can't really help the baby, they can't help them walk if you can't crawl. That's where we're at. Like I was saying earlier, we're young civilization. As out in this bitch, so what are you gonna do? Is it a galactical, whole thing, kind of like Star Trek? You can't mess with them yet until you can't intervene into that, or what? Something
for sure.
Something's going on. Yeah, exactly. Something's going on.
So we got another phone call here. You staying to the bitter end, Kelly? What's up, buddy?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so we got.
Go down with this ship, Kelly.
Go down with this ship, suckers. He's in the Navy, man. He has to. He has to.
Oh, there you go. He's already prepared.
Yeah, already prepared. All right, let's go to. We got Jay. We'll do the outro with Jay, but let's go to Beechwood first. Thanks, Beechwood, for being patient. I've got a timer, guys. He's been waiting for 18 minutes to get on, so that's what I'm saying. So if it seems like I'm obtuse and I'm like cutting into a conversation to cut it off, I'm not. I'm just trying to include everybody. I want you to understand what I'm doing here. So let's go to Beechwood. Thanks for being patient with us. You're on Trouble Minds. Go right ahead, sir.
Oh, hey, what's up, man? I was listening to the show. It's awesome. I'm in the garage. I bought a new electric planer. I'm planing boards, but also the Home Depot I go to is it's right next to a Barnes and Noble, so I always go in there. And I actually last week I bought the inventions, researches, and writings of Nikola Tesla. And I'm like halfway through it. And so far it's nothing but like circuits and anything you could find in a regular, electrician's book. So, like I've read a lot online about him, what you can find, but I think the technology is suppressed. Like, I don't think this book I have in my hand is, like, I know the stuff is true. It's simple, but I don't think it's his research and writing. It's fucking bullshit, simple electrical bullshit. There's nothing special about it. And I think that technology is suppressed. And, someone mentioned him, and, that's one of the people that come up when they talk about suppressed technology in the past. And I think technology in human history is way, way older than we think. It's like written on the walls. It's carved in stone. And I know I've called before. I'm all about like the interdimensional route. I think there's multiple dimensions. I almost go the religious route too. But with technology, I think just the idea. I think when I was a kid, Willy Wonka, the Willy Wonka movie, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the little kid that loved TV. He knew all about TV, and he told you how they break the picture down, and they send it across, and then they put it back together, and then they do the same thing to him, and they shrink him. And I think that technology is possible. Whether it exists, I don't know, but I think it's absolutely possible. It seems the only way that you would be able to travel that far across the galaxy. And then just that leads me to think, the human lifespan is like 100 years. We have a short life. We have a very short life, and we try to comprehend billions and billions of years. So that's got to come from somewhere. And then I looked up, just there's like 7 billion people on the planet, and then we have something called time. 1 billion seconds is like 31 years, and so it would be like 212 years would account for like everybody for 1 second. So there's a lot of people on the earth. There's a lot of different consciousnesses and thoughts. And it's amazing how in our society it all gets funneled down to a focal point, which is the media. It seems like such a small world. And that's because of society, yet there's 7 billion people in it.
Yeah,
if you try to count to 7 billion, it's going to take you a long time.
I just quick story aside from there. I was terrible at math when I was young, and I still am. I'm better at geometry. I'm more of the angle guy. But anyway, I digress. I had a terrible, my first algebra teacher. They put me in the smart algebra class, and I wasn't ready. And this woman was such a bitch. She hated me. And she would literally like call on me for, how they do like the hard version of the problem. They're like, okay, now that everybody's got the simple one, here's the hard one. Mike, what do you think? Give us the answer. And I'd be like, fuck you. She was always just picking on my ass, right? Like she literally like this was a case study of a teacher bullying your ass. And so Not only that, right? I passed the class. Like I got everything wrong. I would take my test. I would write 2, 3, 4, 6 for the answers. I'd turn the shit in and I'd be done. And right? She'd give me an F. But then this broad made me come in and sit through lunch writing from 1 to 1,000,000 by hundreds to pass that class. Like that's how rude this woman was, right? I would have preferred to fail and just get another teacher. Like, leave me alone. Anyway, funny that you say that. I know how big the number of millionaires, because during lunches I had to write from 1 to 1,000,000 by hundreds, and it's impossible in a human lifetime. I promise you that. All right. Anyway, there's the yeah, it's impossible. It literally is. Okay, so Beechwood, we're gonna do something new. If you got time, hang out. We're gonna do the outro with all of us. All of us. Hang tight. Don't go anywhere.
All right. That's cool, man.
Okay, hang tight. We're going to go to Jay. What's up, Jay? Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being patient with us. We usually do the outro with Jay. So we're going to go to Jay. We got Kelly here. We've got Beechwood here. We got Ash here. We're going to do the outro. What are we going to do, Ash? You said we're going to summon Captain Planet? Is that what we're going to do?
yeah, we're going to summon Captain Bleeblop 5.
Yes, let's do it.
We're gonna put on our tinfoil hat rings, and we're gonna call our elements of conspiracy, and we're gonna summon Bleeblop 5, and he's gonna come down, and he's gonna give us world peace. So that's what we're doing.
Bleeblop 5, that's a restream bot, isn't it?
Probably.
I remember seeing it pop up in the thing. So
there's a Doombot 5. I think his name's literally Doombot 5.
Oh, I got it wrong. I'm sorry.
But yeah. But let's go ahead. Go take it away.
Go ahead, Jay. This is let's get your take on tonight first, and then we'll do the outros. I don't want to cut you short on your ideas here.
Well, I remember when we were kids, the movie with Clint Eastwood came out. It was like Firefox or Foxfire or something like that. He was driving around an SR-71. The thing was brand new, and they made a movie about it. And we were, as kids, we're already going there and camping at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and stuff like that, and knew the thing was made in like 1947, but it was like 1983 before they told anybody about it. I don't know if anybody remembers, like probably like 2-3 years ago, they wanted to reinvent the dirigible blimp kind of things for transport, solar sailing and stuff like that. It was done in the UK, and the thing was, 12 pitch fields big or something like that. I think that's what they call them, their pitch fields. But an unbelievable amount of cargo. It was basically a blimp, and they just sent it up in the air, and they were taking advantage of the trade winds and, a little bit of motor here or there. What we were talking about earlier in the show with I forget what it's called, the triangle guy. The 3 lights. Could that just be the same thing that you were saying? I remember you saying, it's a balloon with a little motor on the top of it to get it to go in the way that it's going. And they're lying bastards, man. Come on.
Yeah, it was hard to say. I think that's part of the problem. It's hard to say.
They're lying bastards. We know it. You're red-handed caught, The hand is in the cookie jar, Josephine. Yes, I know. You're not allowed to have a cookie right now. I'm not taking one. Your hand is in the jar. You got cookie on your face. Guilty. I mean, look, we don't need Sherlock Holmes to come in here and investigate this one. I mean, it's kind of where I feel like we're at now, 4 pages. Come on.
Yes.
4 pages?
Yes. Indeed.
Okay. Not even the 4 pages, the 75 pages that are redacted. Okay. So less than 100?
Yeah.
Wikipedia's got more than 100 on it.
Yeah. Exactly. NS, by the way, says, I think if you write from 1 to 1 billion, it would take you 16,000 years, Mike. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Anyway. All right. Let's do it. Let's finish this up. You guys ready? Anything else you got, Jay? Or we'll do the round table, the outros, and we're gonna do the summon Bleeblop 5. That's how we're gonna do it tonight.
I just want to add that I heard those 4 pages are actually out of one of those little pocket notebooks. So they're small pages. They're not big pages. They're only little ones.
That's a shame. That's a damn shame.
The aliens are real. That's what it's going to say. That's one word on each page.
Hopefully.
The tinfoil how guys are right. You know?
You guys crack me
And
up.
then I got one more question, maybe for everybody.
Yeah, shoot.
Hypothetically, if they come out and they say aliens are real, how long will people stay satisfied before they question where the aliens came from?
Well, I think the floodgates will be open after that.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there'll just be mass chaos everywhere. So
I don't think people will be. Dude, people, from what I've seen, people are like, literally, someone just said to me, man, I for one welcome our alien overlords. Like people's faith in humanity steering the ship is pretty low. Like people are ready for the aliens, man. They're ready to give it all over. And that's where this reptilian comes in when he's coming to conquer. Perfect timing.
If you eat me ass, I just want to go head first, please.
Wait. Okay,
done and quick.
Wait. If you guys are in no hurry, I'm in no hurry. Okay, it's cool. It's cool. Everybody, hang out. We'll get your time. Check this out. I want to interject this real fast. I'm gonna tell you exactly. If that report comes out on Friday and it says in 4 pages, the aliens are real, I'm going to tell you what kind of question Jen Psaki's going to get, the redhead, the press conference secretary of the White House. They're going to be like, so like they literally the government came out on Friday and said the aliens are here and they're real. And then they're going to ask, this is the first question Jen Psaki's going to get on Monday. So Jen Psaki, how come President Biden looked so good when he was in Europe next to the G7 summit?
How scared do you think Putin is of Biden right now?
Yeah, exactly. That's some stupid. Like point being, they're going to ask some dumbass question, completely unrelated. All right, sorry guys. Like I said, I'm in no hurry. We're not going to shut this down. If you guys want to hang out and talk, it's all good. I'm in absolutely no hurry. So, Kelly, you've been quiet for a little while. Hot takes on any of this, my friend?
Oh man, if they come out and say all the aliens are real, I'd be like, how many? I'd be like, no, we already know. I mean, that's nothing new, but I want to know. I mean, because I want to be welcomed into that whole galactic family. You know what I mean? I want to have it to be like Star Wars and Star Trek. You know what I mean? I want it to be like that. I know it's like that already. I just want to see it, touch it, feel it. That's what I want. I mean, I would be happy with it. I mean, I want to see what these other people, because what's interesting being in the Navy and then, traveling to, other places around the world and seeing it, with because, you see it on, National Geographic or, on TV or now the internet, whatever. But just to go over there and see it yourself was amazing. For example, was one like Dubai. I seen it when it was all like just nothing but cranes and, just a skeleton of buildings. And then along the side of the freeway, it just said, we build cities. And I went back, in 2012 when they had the city built, and holy oh man, that shit blew my mind. But it'd be something like that. You would go and travel and see a different planet. I mean, if we could go there, I want to go there. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to? I mean, just the adventure of seeing something else,
Agreed, 100%.
What if we're the food? That's the only thing that, Ash has kind of pretty much admitted it, we're the food, Why are you going to come here? I mean, really, what do they want? Water? Well, if they take our water, we're screwed, right? I mean, we need it. I mean, they want our resources. Well, we probably need those too, What if we're just like, the big islands in Hawaii that have more cattle than Texas? Hey, look, it's Earth. They should be about what the Rosicrucians say, like 800 million people or something. We got 8-9 billion now, headed 9 way. Hey, well, I mean, but I mean, you just look at all this crazy stuff you see on the internet and all the people talk about on their shows and everything. Are they throwing all this information at us from every way sideways just to confuse us and talk about it, and then be like, well, the aliens have been here since the beginning. They kind of wrote the Bible and the Quran and the scrolls and Indian lore and all of that. And you guys have been quarantined for 18 months and you figured it out.
And
good for you. I mean,
totally.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Go ahead. Finish up, Jay. Sorry.
No, that's we could go on for 100 years, but we won't live that long. I mean,
that's true because if you count to 1 billion, it'll take you 16,000 years. Just FYI.
Exactly.
All right, let's go. There you go. There's a rare story from my childhood, which is hilarious and tragic and hilarious all at the same time. Beechwood, let's wrap this sucker up, bro. Final thought. I'm not going to play music because I don't think we have long enough music. But go ahead, brother.
I got one final thought. I liked what Kelly said a lot, and with this show, with this hobby, I'm looking for answers, but it's kind of like treasure hunting. It's about the journey too. That's just as enjoyable in a 5-sense reality. Talking to people, and I want to finish up. I'm looking for a Troubled Mind T-shirt, man. I need a T-shirt.
Okay, it's coming. It's coming, man. It's coming.
You can see them. You can't buy them.
And I look forward to the future.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your input. Thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. You're welcome to stay till the bitter end. Let's see. Who's next? Kelly?
I don't know, man. I just say just keep an open mind and an open, troubled mind on what everything is going on around. Government-wise and whatever's going on this planet. But I'm just let's just be hopeful if something comes out of this thing. Here on come Friday. But we already know. But maybe they'll surprise us. But we'll see. But here at Troubled Mind, we already know, right?
I think we already know. I think in general, vague terms, I think we already know that the answer. It's between the lines. You read between the lines, and we know that they know, and they're not going to tell us. We already know. That's what we know. I appreciate it, Kelly. Ash and Jay, let's do it. Let's finish this up, guys. I'll let you wrestle over who gets it. I'm going to play the outro music, and I'm going to sit back and sip a beer.
I'm going to let Jay. I'll
get my quote, man, and then go, Ash. Don't forget that you're human. It's okay to have a meltdown. Just don't unpack and live there. Cry it out and refocus on where you're headed. I don't know who said that.
Fair enough. I like it. Go ahead.
Keep going.
It's a free-for-all, guys. It's a free-for-all. Roll it. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna do my thing, and you guys just go. Thanks for listening, guys. This has been Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. I'm here with Ash, Jay, Kelly, and Beechwood just hung up. Thanks for hanging out with us. You could be doing a million things. You're here with us. We're honored. Thank you for listening. Thanks for participating. Go, guys. You're up. I'm muting myself, and outro is yours.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. You know what? This is a historical moment, This is like a celebration. It's gotten further than we thought it would get, at least, and we're in a moment of history, and who knows what's going to happen. It's kind of like, second Christmas or Christmas before Christmas. And you know what? You're not alone. You're not alone thinking that this is a special moment in history. We're all here. We're here summoning Bleed Block 5, okay? We're using our powers to summon him right now. And, who knows what's going to happen? History is around the corner. China's gearing up for war. We got all kinds of crazy stuff going on. But we're here together, and thank you for having me. It was a great conversation. Good topic. Let's try and keep the pressure on and hold them accountable. And I'm Ash the Reptilian from Mars. Check out my channel on YouTube. I'll be live streaming in my live reptilian form on Sunday. I just had my first broadcast last week. It went pretty well. I really enjoyed it, and I appreciated your comments. Thank you for tuning in to Troubled Minds, and I hope you guys have a good night.
it's up there. I'll go before Jake because I want to hear the quote. But as Kelly, I'm a long-time listener, caller, researcher, ufologist, and just all around interested in what's going on in the universe, and not just here on this little piece of rock we live on, but just trying to get the information, learn the information, and teach everybody else. Because our time, like Beechwood was saying, our time here is, we're only here for 100 years at that. To learn to love each other. Don't always believe the hype that they're putting out there on mainstream media. It's all about love and light anyway. But you can't stay away from the darkness, and it's out there. So, and we don't know what it is. Could be multi-dimensional, or it's always been here. We've always there's that plus technology. Everybody's here to learn something, right? So, just stick around. If it ain't UFOs, it's ghosts or whatever. It could be the whole government, secret societies and all that. But here to just come in, learn, just like with everybody else, and let's do this all together. Just take care of yourselves and take care of everybody else. Love you, family.
Hey, man, bro. Back at you. Jay, finish us up, man. Take us out of here.
I don't know. Now you're going to make me pull out Aldous Huxley.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
No, I got him. He's right there.
Okay. Right there. Go for it.
Well, I just... Kelly's right. We don't... they've been telling us all this stuff for ever. It's all basic. It's in us. We know it. Be good people. Just we can be good people. Full moon's coming. You can kind of see it in the chat. People are kind of getting needy to each other. It's just we can be nice. We can have a conversation about whatever, and be smart about it. Learn something new every day.
Amen. Amen.
I don't want to read the Aldous Huxley one now because it's bad. It's like
it's dark.
Mr. Poopy Pants. Oh no, it's Mr. Poopy Pants. I don't want to be Mr. Poopy Pants at the end of the show. It's like, it's hey, it's a great day. I bought my 5-year-old kid a telescope, and he's up until 11 o'clock. I was like, come on, dude, man, you gotta go to bed, man. He goes, no, but I can see the stars finally, because we live in New York, and we got that thing with our airplanes flying around, that different conversation, that it's cloudy every night when the stars are out, you could finally see them tonight. Yeah, so you got stars all night.
All night.
Every night.
Most nights, yeah.
I love the desert, man. The desert is so cool. I lived out in South Dakota for a while. You go down there in the Badlands, walk a day out with the dog in middle of nowhere and set up your tent with all your water and pray you'd lived.
Hell yeah.
But what you saw at night.
Hell yeah. Wait. Let me interject and you can continue. You guys are listening to Troubled Minds After Hours, and we're just shooting the shit. Carry on, sir. No problem. I'm honestly in no hurry. Mrs. Strange went to sleep, and my dog is chill right now. So usually you catch me running out of here because my dog is freaking out. But right now she's asleep, so we're good. We're good.
Did you get the CD?
I didn't go check. I will check it out. I will go check tomorrow, and maybe we'll be talking about that.
Killing me. That's killing me. What's on that one? Okay. Man, it really is.
I'll see if I can get it out. If you send me a virus, your ass is grass, bro. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you, it's one of two things. It's either the CD of the Ghost Hunters trip, or it's the CD of the Boy Scouts going down the river at the High Adventure Camp at the thing, which was one of the first times that I called you. You're going to need a backhoe to get that information, because the Boy Scouts of America got a grant, or however it works out, from AT&T, the Mormons, the Latter-day Saints, to build this High Adventure base in West Virginia. And how many people can hear us? I'm wondering that.
It's a good question. I have no idea. No idea.
The guys that were taking.
Wait. We're still streaming. We're still streaming. If that's what you're asking me, we're still streaming. We are streaming.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll blurt it out. You know,
you don't have to.
We already know where I live there.
It's
fine.
I'm just saying that you don't have to, man. We are.
The Rafton guy's name was Doug. He worked at. Yeah, that's cool. But there was this place, man. They buried a strip mine with concrete. The trains that brought coal out of the West Virginia hills, when they came in to build the Boy Scout camp, they were pouring concrete. Black helicopters, black SUVs flying around all day, all night long. When you got your, 15, 20 kids that you're taking to the high adventure base, like, what the hell is going on here? You know, you got a dozen kids up on the rock climbing wall, going up the thing, and you see 24 SUVs going down the service road at 70 miles an hour 3 minutes after a helicopter lands. What's going on here? And then you go on the whitewater rafting trip with a old redneck guy that's been taking people down the river for 20 years going, yeah, man, there's something serious built up there. My brother-in-law worked down there, man. You know,
serious business, man.
It's on the back of my toolbox in my garage where I am sitting, so I can look at it, what it's called, and give you the name of the town.
It's all good, bro. It's all good. We don't need GPS details. You're square. Look, we believe you. This is the thing. Tomorrow, guys, 7 p.m. Pacific. If that UFO report hits, we'll be talking about it. We'll be reading all 4 pages. We'll be talking about how you guys feel about it. I know, I understand. I don't like being Mr. Poopy Pants either. I don't like crapping on these things. I don't like being distrustful of the government. But this is where we're at, all right? But we will be all over it, so there it is. There it is. Getting advice on the CD here from Bailey on how to not get viruses from Jay. All right, Kelly, let's do the official wrap up. We're out of here, man. You got 10 seconds. Let's get the hell out. Let's do it. He's already asleep.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. We're still streaming, man. I haven't stopped. He's all who me. Give us a commercial. Your best Troubled Minds commercial.
Best Troubled Minds commercial. Welcome to Troubled Minds. We have Mike, and he's going to lead us out with the.
Perfect.
Everybody's, we talk about everything. We talk about the strange, the unusual, and the bizarre. All the way to the bullshit government and everything across the board. Whatever you can think of, we always try to get involved in that. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next week, or we'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, and then hopefully Friday we'll get the gist on what's going on in the universe. But we know the deal.
We know the deal. Tomorrow we are streaming 7 p.m. Pacific, guys. More Troubled Minds. Friday probably is stream because I'm thinking they're going to drop that report probably Friday morning. So I will be all over it, and we will probably do an impromptu stream on Friday. So stay tuned. We're not going to let this one slip by. We're going to be the first ones talking about it. Like always, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Ash, for being here tonight. I'm ending the stream now officially, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow night. Thank you so much for participating. Thanks for listening. Be good to each other. Do all those things. Do all the good human things the good humans try and do to each other. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow night. Thank you very much. Catch you then. Peace.